Today and tomorrow, just beautiful days. We warm back up to the 80s later in the week. Chance of rain on Saturday. And right now, it's 61 degrees downtown. Inside Sources coming up next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Police say a man who claimed he had shot Charlie Kirk right after the bullet was fired allegedly told officers he wanted to assist the real shooter. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
It was almost immediately after Kirk was shot, officers say George Zinn approached them saying, quote, "I shot him, now shoot me." The officers say when they took Zinn in for an interview, he requested an attorney, then later admitted he was not the shooter. Soon after, Zinn was taken to a hospital, and on the way, he allegedly told officers he was glad he said he had shot Kirk, so the real shooter could get away.
KSL.com reports Zinn is well known to law enforcement for several other convictions and arrests, and frequently appears at political events. He's being held without bond. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The nation's top law enforcement official says federal prosecutors will target hate speech in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination.
The Attorney General now vows to go after those who espouse hate.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech.
Pam Bondi said it in an interview with podcaster Katie Miller.
You can't have that hate speech in the world in which we live.
But her remarks have led to a strong backlash from fellow conservatives, some of whom quoted Charlie Kirk, who posted last year that in America all speech is protected by the First Amendment. Bondi now says her department will prosecute those who make violent threats. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Your money at this moment, the Dow down 185 points to 45,701. Coming up, we've still got a few traffic spots that are causing delays. We'll check traffic next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want you to know that it's the little things that count. Any remodeler can say they treat customers right when it comes to siding, gutters, windows, and exteriors. It's hard to know for sure. If a contractor uses cheap generic nails instead of super grippy ridge shaft nails for your siding, would you even know? If they use cheap $4 caulk to install your new windows instead of paying $9 a tube for the good stuff, could you tell by looking? It all comes down to the details and trust. At RGS Exteriors, we only do things one way, the right way. We never cut corners. We never skimp on details. We never do less than the job requires. That's why we offer our industry's exclusive 10-year everything guarantee. And it's why we have the happiest customers. If you need any gutters, siding, or replacement windows, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online at rgsutah.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Summer's almost over, but the heat is pressing on. If you've got battery trouble, stop by AutoZone for free battery testing. It may just need a charge, and we'll do that for free too. If you do need a battery, we've got options starting at just $89.99, and we'll recycle your old battery for free. Now that's a strong start. Don't miss the end of summer sale, now at AutoZone until September 22nd.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
I'm Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. One of our values is to do only what is good for our customers in the long term. Our goal is to have you as a happy Arctic Spa customer even 10 years down the road and longer. This means that we only sell and service Arctic Spas. We are built for the long term because we cut your electric bill in half compared to other brands. We do multi-level seating, armrests, adjustable pillows, and 100% massaging jets to make it more comfortable, so you will continue to enjoy it over the long term. The Arctic Spa has automatic saltwater care and automatic pH control. Less worry means you will enjoy it more over the long term. Focusing on Arctic Spa customers gives you a better experience with our knowledge, training, parts, and accessories that you need for the long term. You will enjoy your Arctic Spa longer, making us the least expensive option over the long run. When you're looking for a long-term hot tub with service for the long term, check us out at ArcticSpasUtah.com, covering all of Utah with stores in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Arctic Spa, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate, and the best long-term choice for you.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, southbound I-15 still stop and go for about 2 miles through most of Farmington. This is due to a crash right underneath the West Davis Corridor flyover ramp, blocking the right lane and shoulder. That has traffic backed up almost to the Park Lane exit. So you may want to transition onto Legacy Parkway in that same area. That is delay-free at the moment, going through Farmington into Centerville. You're also still pretty slow northbound I-15 trying to get out of Utah County over the point of the mountain into the Salt Lake Valley. And once you're in Salt Lake Valley, you just have off and on slowing all the way into downtown. No real problems, though, on the east or west side belt routes, 201 freeway or I-80 through Parley's Canyon. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, endless possibilities with 3 locations. Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, and Performance Toyota, where excellence is standard. Start your search at performancebountiful.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today will be sunny with the highs in the 70s, maybe only a high of 76 degrees, though. The rest of this week will likely be the same, with clouds Thursday and Friday. And well, there's a lot of clouds right now in Salt Lake City, and it's 61 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Inside Sources. As we were preparing the show this morning, FBI Director Kash Patel is testifying and has been testifying for some time before a Senate Judiciary Committee talking about the investigation into the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Of course, that happened here in Utah last week. He said that within hours of Kirk's death, the FBI released pictures and videos that he claims led to the arrest of 22-year-old Tyler Robinson.
A few hours later, that suspect was in custody, pursuant to the interrogation of the suspect's own father, who stated, "When I saw that video that you released, I recognized it was my son."
And just moments ago, Senator Hawley of Missouri questioned Patel about Kirk's murder.
And then, of course, last week, Charlie Kirk, who said, "I want to be remembered for my courage, for my faith," was shot on a college campus. Let me just start with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Is the FBI, and I appreciate the tremendous work the FBI has done in this investigation, is the FBI investigating the Kirk assassination as part of this broader pattern of anti-religious, anti-Christian violence?
We are investigating Charlie's assassination fully and completely and running out every lead related to any allegation of broader violence, and we're producing results on that we'll disclose when appropriate.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Let me just ask you a few questions about that if I could. Sure. Reports have suggested that the FBI is investigating a broader network of groups that may have had some knowledge of the shooter's plans. Can you give us any details on that, following up what you've already said in public? How's the FBI working to find other potential accomplices, folks who may have known about the shooter's plans, folks who may have encouraged him? Any update on any of that?
So in terms of what we do for an interrogation perspective, we go and reach out to the family and community immediately. And we've conducted those investigations and interrogations with local law enforcement, and we're continuing to do that because those closest to the suspect are going to hopefully know the most about the suspect and his beliefs and his ideology. On top of that, unfortunately, it has been leaked that there was a Discord chat, and for those unfamiliar with it, it's a gaming chat room online that the suspect participated in. So what we're doing, we've already done, is serve legal process, not just on Discord, so that the information we gathered is sustained and held in a evidentiary posture that we could use in prosecution should it be decided to do so. And we're also going to be investigating anyone and everyone involved in that Discord chat.
Okay, very good. I see the public reports that the Discord thread had as many as 20 additional users. It sounds like you're trying to run down all of that to see if that's accurate. who else may have been on that thread, what they may have known. Is that fair to say?
It's a lot more than that, and we're running them all down.
It's a lot more than 20?
Yes, sir.
And you're running all of that to ground?
Every single one.
Yeah, fantastic.
So that's actually information, Holly, that we have not known until now, that there was this chat. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, given what we know about Tyler Robinson, that he would have been involved in chats and gaming and that type of thing. I also, kind of reading between the lines here, make the assumption that there's something incriminating in terms of those chats, that maybe he said something.
Well, I think we've seen reports, right, of some of the stuff that was happening online in Discord, and we were talking, I think, shortly after the next day about his participation in Discord chats, and that it's an online space. It used to be just for gamers, and then it went darker. So it'll be interesting to see what other questions come up for Patel. I thought it was interesting also, Senator Amy Klobuchar, who's a Democrat, she asked Patel about stopping the blame game.
But what I am asking for is that this rhetoric of blaming one side or the other stop. If you could convey that to the president, and that we actually work on things that are solutions. So could you commit to me, Mr. Patel, Director Patel, that you will do that?
Absolutely, Senator.
And I would have to say that Patel was here side by side with Governor Cox last week at the press conference on Friday, and did seem to have a spirit of unity with respect to working together with and sort of toning down the rhetoric.
He certainly praised law enforcement here locally, right? He really said this is what happens when you get out of the way for good law enforcement to be able to do their job, right? We have talked about this since the shooting happened. It'll be a week ago tomorrow, but what we know, right, about the shooter, what we know, at least the alleged shooter, but the person who has been arrested, that charges will come later today. We'll talk about that in the next segment, but it's just, he is on the hot seat now, and there's multiple things that they have been asking him. It's not just about this particular case. They're talking to him about Epstein. They're talking to him about firings / resignations happening within his department, and some of them he's willing to talk about, and some of them he's not.
Yeah, I have to say though that in terms of the Charlie Kirk homicide, the FBI, whether it was Patel or not, was on the scene immediately.
Yeah.
They were arm in arm with Utah County sheriffs, with local police department down there in Orem City, and with the county and state law enforcement officers. And so Patel, I mean, I'm glad you just mentioned that he's being questioned about other things, because I don't think that the FBI has anything to hide from or to be questioned about with respect to what they did in Utah last week.
Right. And I don't think that this was a spur of the moment, hey, hurry and show up. I think this was scheduled for him to appear. There were several things they wanted to talk to him about, and this is one more that they added in. But I do have a question for you. So you said FBI was on the scene right away. Does that mean we have FBI agents located here in Utah? Is there a Western region? I don't actually know.
Oh, yes, there is. And there's actually a Utah County office. So they were probably very close by. But there's an FBI office here in Salt Lake. We have a director here in Salt Lake that we've spoken to numerous times. I think he's an interim director right now. And they have a full staff here in Utah, as they probably do in every state.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went through the FBI Citizens Academy a couple of years ago and went to their office, and their people were incredibly good. I was, and still am, a defense attorney, so they invited me to, sort of the bad guy, to go through their program. It was really fascinating. We went and saw their armory, fired some of the guns. I think somebody let off a bomb one day. It was really, and just sort of learned the forensics they have, the CSI that they have, the things that they were able to do and show us was just fascinating. I was so impressed with the FBI after that. And I would also say that when they came into Utah, or at least the crime scene there at UVU last week, they were not dissuaded. They were not sent away. They were welcomed with open arms. And I think that nobody said, hey, we're in charge, you step down. Good. Everybody seemed to work together.
Yeah, that's great. Look, we know that all eyes will be on Utah later today as Tyler Robinson makes his first court appearance. I think that's scheduled for 3 p.m. today. And you get to break it down for us when we come back after our break.
Amanda, I'm always on the hunt for a deal where I get the highest quality for the best price. I mean, that's what everybody wants, right? But Bedrock Quartz delivers that. They give you the highest end countertops and backsplashes and bathrooms and tiles and all of those things. And right now, you can get the best price ever on what they have.
I love that they've extended this friends and family discount through the month of September. So you literally will pay what an employee of Bedrock Quartz would pay through the month of September. And they did 2 bathrooms at our old place and 1 in our new place. And Andy, there's just nothing like getting in a shower that is as beautiful as it can be with Bedrock Quartz.
You know, if you're in your home and you're not looking to move, but you can still make it feel like new with new countertops or new bathrooms. So right now, when you go into their showroom, the price on the showroom is what it is installed, no additional markup.
And that's true whether it's quartz or quartzite or granite or marble. And they have 100 different options to choose from. So you'll find something you fall in love with.
They're a 4th-generation, family-owned countertop company headquartered in Utah since 1976. Check them out online at bedrockquartz.com.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Myth. You might have heard that you need to spend a fortune these days to get a powerful computer. Correction. At PC Laptops, we wanted to prove that wrong. So here's the most amazing deal that we've ever done at PC Laptops for you in over 30 years. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Take one home today. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Hey guys, it's Woodrow from Mint Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with ED? Well, you are not alone, and now there's a real solution that treats the root cause, not just the symptoms. Introducing our Trifecta approach, a breakthrough combination of acoustic wave therapy, hormone replacement, and cryotherapy, all designed to restore blood flow, boost performance, and rebalance your hormones. Whether it's ED or hormonal imbalance, if you're ready to reignite your love life, this treatment helps bring back your energy, your drive, and your confidence. And right now, when you call, you'll receive a free consultation, a blood flow ultrasound, and an intimacy gift. That's a $650 value, absolutely free. And here's the bonus. The next 20 callers will also receive a 5-night stay at a luxury resort in Hawaii just for taking the first step. But you must call now. With 2 convenient locations in Layton and Sandy, help is closer than you think. Call 801-804-8000 now. That's 801-804-8000. Mint Medical Clinic. We'll get you back to mint condition.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs,
visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Inside Sources.
22-year-old Tyler Robinson will be appearing in court today this afternoon at 3 o'clock to be formally notified of the charges that have been filed against him. And I just need to make a quick disclosure here. I have been working with the county, with Utah County, in helping them get a public defender assigned to that case. I am not involved in the case. I won't be representing anyone involved in the case, neither the prosecution nor the defense. But I'm assisting them getting a public defender. And part of the reason for that is that the current public defenders don't have a contract for that type of case, so we're trying to get a budget and a group of attorneys. We've got several in mind, but anyway, I just wanted to make that clear in case you see me in court this afternoon.
Your life makes mine look boring.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so tell us what he is expected to be charged with.
Okay, so Jeff Gray, the county attorney, is going to give a press conference today at noon, and he's going to announce the charges. We don't know exactly what they are, but I would assume that he's going to, I think it's safe to say he's going to file the aggravated murder charge, which is the case that could carry the death penalty. He doesn't need to announce today if he's seeking the death penalty, but he will announce probably that he's filing charges that potentially carry the death penalty. And of course, we know in Utah, they also carry the potential for life in prison without the possibility of parole or execution. So that will be one of the counts. He was booked into jail, and the law enforcement community issued a press statement yesterday that indicated they thought he would also be charged with obstruction of justice for, I guess,
running away.
Yeah, running and maybe hiding the gun. I don't know exactly what the elements of that would be. That's a lesser crime. It carries 1 to 15 years in prison. And then there's a third crime they're looking at charging, just according to this statement from the police. And it's another one that's a little unusual, but I think it applies, I guess. It's called felony discharge of a firearm causing injury. Now, under the law, it kind of melds with the homicide, it meshes, I guess I should say. So I don't know. It's another first-degree felony. It carries 5 years to life in prison. So anyway, I think those are the three charges that the press statement that came out yesterday from law enforcement indicates, but we'll learn from the county attorney himself today when he makes those announcements at noon. And then the suspect will be appearing in court at 3 o'clock. Of course,
that's virtual, right?
Yes. He'll be in the Utah County Jail over there in Spanish Fork, and then the court will be in Provo. And the purpose of the first appearance is to decide who his attorneys will be. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It's to appoint counsel. And so I will ask the judge to appoint him counsel, and then we'll decide who the counsel will be. And there are obviously lawyers that are interested or willing to do that. It's a tough case for lawyers. And I would say this, just having been a public defender myself, and I get court appointed on federal cases, it's those are the calls you don't really like to get, where you say, the judge will say, hey, Skordas, I want you to come take this case because the pay is not great. And, this case especially, the publicity, and it literally would almost seem to shut down a law practice for a couple of years.
Let me ask you a related question. So this case has gotten not only national but international attention. What are the chances of it being moved out of Utah County? Or, I look at it and say, is the jury tainted in Utah County? Maybe, probably. How about Utah? Maybe, probably. How about the entire United States? I mean, how is that going to happen?
Yeah, so you look at cases that we've had, O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, exactly.
Elizabeth Smart case. Very high-profile cases. Even recently in Idaho, we had
the Koberger.
Koberger, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, big cases that actually went to trial. And what they did in those cases, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell in particular, is they moved them from a smaller jurisdiction to the big city. In other words, they moved them to Ada County, which is Boise is the home. So that can happen. Typically, if you feel like you have a problem with the county you're in, you stay within the district. And I'm going to get in the weeds a little bit here, but Utah is divided into districts, eight districts, and the 4th district, which is where this crime is alleged to have occurred in Utah County, also includes Juab, and Wasatch counties. So if the court decides he can't get a fair trial in Utah County, they move it to one of those two, which
those are even smaller.
Exactly, which are, by the way, smaller. So it would be a stretch, and it would be difficult to move it to Salt Lake. The law doesn't necessarily provide for that unless it's fairly extreme circumstances. So a change of venue means a change within the district.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I don't know that would apply in this case, but what they'll do, and if you recall, they did the same thing with the Corey Richins case up in Summit County.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The case in Park City, where she claimed that she could not get a fair trial there, asked the court to move it to Salt Lake. What you literally have to do is get an expert, survey the populace, get a group of 100 people.
You're random sampling.
Do
basically.
a poll and say, hey, let's say you get 100 people. How many of you know about this case? How many of you already formed an opinion? And if you get 99, you're in trouble. Yeah. But if it's 59, then you can probably select a jury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it isn't so much, Holly, and it's a great question that people know about the case, because maybe we all know about the case. What's important when you're selecting a jury, and by the way, we're a year or so away from a jury trial in this case. What's important is that people will say, okay, I think I know about this case, but I'm willing to put that aside. I'm willing to hear the evidence. I'm willing to decide the case based on the law that the judge provides and render a fair verdict based on the evidence that I hear, not what I think I saw on the news,
right,
or what I think the president told me or the governor told me or something like that, or even the county attorney today, I think he'll be very careful with his words. But yeah, I mean, because he's the one that's most interested in keeping it in Utah County, so he'll be the most circumspect of all. But yeah, I think that Utah County is big enough. I think it's the second biggest county in the state by population. Probably it will be tried there.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
So just to reiterate today, we're expecting a press conference at noon. That'll be carried live during Maria Chaleas' show right after us. And then at 3, and that will be County Attorney Jeff Gray, Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray, and he'll have a press conference to talk about what's going to happen at 3.
Yeah, I think what he's going to do is because there is court at 3, and no one's been charged with anything yet.
Right.
So he's probably going to unveil his charges.
Okay.
I mean, if he doesn't, then they'll put it over for a day or two. But he's had enough time.
Right.
And we talked last
probable cause
Friday about the fact that, hey, he's got 3 days. Well, today's day 3. Because we don't count the weekends. So, yeah, he's probably going to announce the charges and let the world know that Utah County's taking the case. There are a couple of important considerations there, and that includes the fact that the federal government, the Department of Justice, the U.S. attorneys have taken an interest in the case. And so they'll be watching it very closely to see what is Utah doing. Mm-hmm. And if Utah... And I'm just surmising, if Utah comes out strong and says, we're taking this case, we're going to charge it as an aggravated murder, we're going to seek the death penalty, and they don't have to make that decision yet, the federal government might say, okay, you've got this. What are we going to add to the equation? And they may not charge it at all. Of course, the federal government has a death penalty as well. But you can also have concurrent prosecutions where the feds and the state both charge.
Right.
A lot of people think it's double jeopardy. You can't do that. But they're separate sovereigns, separate jurisdictions.
Right.
You can have 2 charges going at the same time.
So you're going to have the press conference at noon, and then you're going to have the actual court appearance at 3 o'clock. It'll be in front of a judge. Virtually, county attorney will present the charges, and there's questioning of
the judge will
suspect,
say,
right?
The judge will say, okay.
Do you understand the charges?
You are charged. Yeah, exactly.
I'm watching TV.
You got it down. You're charged with the following:
okay.
murder, obstructing justice, discharge of a firearm.
Okay.
They carry this penalty.
Right.
Can you afford an attorney?
Right.
No. Okay, I'll appoint you one. And then the judge will set bail.
Yeah.
And
or decide not to, is that part of it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, no bail is setting.
Okay.
The judge might say, based on the facts of this case, I'm going to order that there be a no. So you deal with detention, deal with counsel, and you deal with the notification of the charges. So it's a first appearance. Some people call it an arraignment. It's not an arraignment. It's a first appearance, and it'll be shorter than this segment has been, and it'll be just 2 or 3 minutes. And you might expect that Robinson doesn't even say anything unless the judge says, would you like us to appoint you an attorney? And he might say, sure, sign me up.
Okay. All right. Well, we will be listening to that live.
Yeah, noon today. The press conference, 3 o'clock, is the first appearance for Tyler Robinson in the Utah County Court there in Provo. After Charlie Kirk's death, the Trump administration vows to dismantle leftist groups and is assembling a list of left-wing organizations, calling them terrorist groups. More after the break.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, the president of Utah Valley University has released a statement calling for community to come together and offering support for students and staff returning to school. In a video posted on the school's social media account, President Astrid Tumines offers her condolences to Charlie Kirk's family, and she thanks everyone who has come out to support the school and students.
During this terribly sad time, we have an opportunity to show the human connection is stronger than violence, that love is stronger than fear.
She says they're putting the needs of those impacted by the shooting first and are working with law enforcement to make sure everyone returning back to school feels safe. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, actor Robert Redford has died at the age of 89.
Robert Redford's breakthrough role came in 1969 when he co-starred with Paul Newman in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
I'll jump first. No. Then you jump first. No, I said. What's the matter with you? I can't swim! Why, are you crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
Redford and Newman teamed up again in 1973's The Sting, and that same year it was Redford and Barbra Streisand in The Way We Were. Redford went on to win a Best Director Oscar in 1983 for Ordinary People. Asked once about the Oscar race,
if you're talking about a race, the Oscar race, that I have no use for.
Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow down 156 points to 45,726. Coming up, well, we got more cool temperatures on the way today, but it'll warm up before the end of the week. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep breath.
High five.
You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked.
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years.
Woo!
The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm? Totally natural.
Sweet! Thank you! Thank you! High five, everybody! High five!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five!
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. When life gets overwhelming, some things tend to fall by the side.
I'm Carlos Sanchez from Draper, Utah. I was managing a business, helping out a business, doing paperwork and getting paid, and my wife got sick. We filed taxes, but then we got audited. And when I went and talked to the IRS, they didn't give me any choice. The IRS pretty much said, this is what you owe us, when are you gonna pay us? And we're talking quite a bit. But every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox, Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason these guys on the radio. So I called them.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer and compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
endtaxworry.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well,
I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Let's check in with Heather Kelly.
Well, the good news is all the earlier accidents we had, especially the bigger ones southbound I-15 in Farmington, they're all cleared. All lanes are open now, and traffic's moving pretty well, although you might still see a few brake lights northbound I-15 from the point of the mountain toward Bangerter Highway, but that's quickly easing. And then, of course, throughout the day, anytime you have lane restrictions in place, that will sometimes slow people down, especially on the west side belt around the 201 freeway and also coming out of Tooele County. Building your dream home, Camson Electric specializes in custom homes with precision, quality, and clean design. From concept to completion, we power it all. Visit CamsonElectric.com to bring your vision to light. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, sunny. Highs in the 70s, looking at about 76 according to our friends in the KSL Weather Center. The rest of the week will likely be the same with clouds Thursday and Friday. You're seeing clouds in the sky right now over Salt Lake City, and it's 61 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We're going to take a pivot now to the press conference Kash Patel is having with the Senate because he's talking about the Charlie Kirk case.
Somebody has to win this thing. And as a country, we have to absolutely reject it. And don't tell me it's both sides. It didn't happen in a vacuum. Over the past decade, we've seen an explosion of political violence, not just one-off lone wolf attacks, but organized, systemic political violence at a mass scale. It is not organic.
Being questioned by Senator
It is
Schmidt,
the offspring of a dark and clandestine system funded in part with our own tax dollars, winning with a large network of foundations, NGOs, activist organizations, and front groups. This system lurks behind every radical leftist movement in our nation today. The George Soros empire has financed a vast ecosystem of radicals, all working together, dropping off bricks at riots to unleash a tidal wave of violently anarchists on our streets and to prop it up in an army of researchers and experts and journalists and propagandists who downplay the political violence.
What he's doing is serious.
I'm going to ask you, because I don't have a ton of time, and I would point out, we've heard years of the left, their loudest voices calling anyone on the right extremists, MAGA Republicans, fascists, Nazis. Tell me if each one of the following perpetrators or alleged perpetrators were acting from a left-wing or right-wing political violence. The man who tried to kill Republican congressman at the congressional baseball practice, nearly killing House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, left-wing or right-wing violence?
Sir, I believe it was a left-wing ideology.
Okay. Burned down cities during the Summer of Love in the George Floyd riots, left-wing violence or right-wing violence?
Sir, I'll rely on you on these. I don't have off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay. Left-wing. The Waukesha Christmas Parade massacre, left-wing or right-wing violence? Left-wing. The Lee Zeldin stabbing attempt, left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Covenant School shooting in Nashville, left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt on President Trump, left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Trump International West Palm Beach assassination attempt, left-wing. The Abundant Life Christian School shooting, left-wing. The United Care CEO's murder, left wing. Tesla's burned, keyed, damaged, firebombed, left wing, left wing. The murders at the Israeli embassy, left wing. The ICE facilities firebombed, left wing. The Minnesota Catholic school shooting, left wing. The anti-white Charlotte in North Carolina stabbing, left wing. The attempted Utah News State firebombing, left wing. And now, of course, the culmination of this vile trend, a left-wing assassination of Charlie Kirk. So don't give me this both sides. If we want to get to unity, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Free speech, yes. Political violence, no. But let's be honest.
Senator Hirano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, just like the rest of the federal government, there have been significant personnel changes at the FBI.
We're hearing
since
FBI
President
Director
Trump took
Patel
office.
talk to Congress
I want
this
to better
morning.
understand the scope of the turnover and the changes occurring at the FBI. Since January 2025, how many FBI employees have retired, resigned?
Let's break from that.
been
There were some questions about the Charlie Kirk matter. Actually, it's more of a statement than a question. but
well, and it was, I mean, let's be fair, it was one-sided.
Right. Yes. And it kind of leads me to what happened yesterday. It was literally while the show was going or immediately thereafter. What would have been the normal Charlie Kirk show was
his podcast.
Yeah, his podcast was hosted by Vice President Vance, and he hosted it in his office at the White House, his Vice President's office. Here's ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers with the latest about that.
Vice President Vance spoke about Charlie Kirk as his friend and highlighted what he said was Kirk's incredible influence in conservative politics as Vance hosted Kirk's podcast on Monday afternoon.
He was a critical part of getting Donald Trump elected as president, getting me elected as vice president. And so much of our success over the last 7 months is due to his efforts, his staffing, his support, and his friendship.
Vance also echoed recent comments from President Trump, saying he believes that, quote, left-wing extremism contributed to Kirk's death. The motives of the suspect, Tyler Robinson, remain unclear. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
I think one of the things that's interesting to me is it's so easy to jump on the blame game, and I understand, right, when something bad happens, we want a reason and we want to blame, and that doesn't really do anything to kind of ratchet down the political violence. We've talked about the political violence spiral and how one act of violence often engenders another and then another and then another. But I will say this about Utah Senator John Curtis. He said, and I think it was on ABC, he said we need to stop talking about left extremism and right extremism and just talk about extremism. The vast majority of people in our country are not extremists.
Right, yeah. And here's what J.D. Vance said about that.
We have to make sure that the killer is brought to justice. And importantly, we have to talk about this incredibly destructive movement of left-wing extremism that has grown up over the last few years, and I believe is part of the reason why Charlie was killed by an assassin's bullet. We're going to talk about how to dismantle that and how to bring real unity that can only come when we tell the truth and everybody knows that they can speak their mind about the issues of the day without being cut down by a murderer's gun.
Kind of a bad soundbite, and he talked only about leftist extremism. But I do agree with you, and I think a lot of our speakers lately have said it really comes from both sides. And these extremist groups are pretty far out there and don't represent
some are
most
not
of
just
America.
some are not groups. Look, I don't know enough about Tyler Robinson to say whether he was part of a quote unquote group. It doesn't appear to me that he was part of a group unless you consider an online chat group on Discord to be a group, right? I mean, I think that's one of the issues is there's actually we're so quick to blame, right? And we're so quick to say, well, but they. And it's important, I think, to be able to take a step back and say, look, we condemn political violence and just stop. Not say we're going to make sure we, go get the bad guys. Look, we don't want anybody out there killing anybody for political reasons.
Yeah, and Tyler Robinson was what I believe probably radicalized. And whatever that source was, it doesn't matter. I mean, some people think it was left wing, right wing, whatever it was. He was clearly brought to this level of hatred and this anger by something that he'd been watching, on the internet. And we talked about radicalization on this very show a couple days ago, how that happens, how that occurs. And it'll be interesting to see when we learn more about him, whether he has a doctor
and if we do,
right.
and if we do, look, it's a conversation we're going to have to keep going on and on about. But today we actually get to pivot because we get to talk about an icon, and he's our icon in Utah. Now he has left us. It's Robert Redford. He passed away this morning at his home at Sundance up in the mountains. That's coming up next. We're going to talk about him and some memories from people who talked to him, who knew him. We're streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Power outages happen year-round, and they're always unexpected. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and some people have medical equipment that needs to stay on, or maybe you don't want the hundreds of dollars of food in the freezer to spoil. Regardless of the reasons, Any Hour Services can help with a backup generator. Now, a lot of people think that backup generators cost thousands of dollars, but we have packages that'll run the essentials and start at less than $2,500. That includes the generator, the connections from the generator to the house, and the installation. We also carry and install larger generators that can run the whole house and kick on automatically when the power goes out. Of course, those cost more, but if you call right now, you can save $1,000 on any standby generator purchase over 9,000 watts. A licensed electrician from Any Hour Services will walk you through the process and show you what options are available. And if you need it, we have flexible financing options available, even if you've been told no in the past. To schedule a free estimate, call Any Hour Services today. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Step back in time and discover treasures from every era at Duke's Jewelers Estate Jewelry Trunk Show. Join us September 26th and 27th for a rare chance to shop one-of-a-kind pieces spanning over 200 years of design. From the romantic curves of Victorian jewelry to the flowing artistry of Art Nouveau, the refined elegance of the Edwardian era, and the bold geometry of Art Deco, you'll find history's most iconic styles all in one place. Whether you're drawn to the playful charm of retro designs, the sleek lines of mid-century classics, or the nostalgic sparkle of modern vintage, there's something waiting to tell your story. But remember, this event happens just one weekend a year, and these pieces are truly one of a kind. When they're gone, they're gone. Don't miss the Estate Jewelry Trunk Show, September 26th and 27th at Duke's Jewelers Springville. Duke's Jewelers, where history, artistry, and elegance come together.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone stabbing a knife into your heel, or does your lower back pain get worse as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100% pain-free.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, walked out of the store. All the pain was gone. My back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you and schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Sure, humans can be a little weird at times, but take it from me, I'm a dog. And a person is about the best thing that can happen to a shelter pet. So if you want to learn how you can be that person, get down to your local pet shelter or visit theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Advanced Window Products offers Grabber window covers. High-end quality with the best warranty. Save 30% off when you mention KSL. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindows.com.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Utah lost an icon this morning. Actor Robert Redford died at the age of 89. We are told that he passed away at his home near the Sundance Resort up Provo Canyon. This was not my favorite Robert Redford movie, but it was an incredible movie, and I actually think it won Academy Awards. The Sting. My favorite Robert Redford movie, without a doubt, Jeremiah Johnson.
Oh,
I love that. I have to watch that movie once a year.
Wow. Well, KSL TV's Carol Makita interviewed Redford several times, and we'll be speaking with Carol in just a minute. But let's take a minute to listen to her as she looks back at his life's work.
In 2009, Robert Redford reminisced about the 40th anniversary of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the film that launched him into stardom.
Think you used enough dynamite there, Butch?
Butch Cassidy is such a vital part of Utah history. You know, the outlaw part of Utah, which is something I can identify with, unfortunately.
Director George Roy Hill wanted to cast him as Butch with Paul Newman as Sundance. Redford convinced him to switch the roles, and Newman agreed.
The fact that he would support me, not well known at that time, I will forever be indebted to him.
Then he worked on a change for the film's location.
And I said to him, I said, what do you know about Utah? And he said, nothing. I said, I'm telling you, there are parts of Utah that are not like anything else in the world. And can I show you a part of Utah? Because I think it'd be great to film there.
So they flew over southern Utah, what Redford always called sheer beauty.
As a result, he said, we're going to film in Utah. So I like to think that I had maybe a lot to do with the film being shot there.
It was a box office hit, and the name Sundance touched every aspect of Redford's professional life. It was his vision in Utah with both the Sundance Institute and then the Sundance Film Festival that affected the future of the film industry throughout the world. Closest to his heart, the 5,000-acre resort, which he has preserved for future generations.
Thought, well, at least there's some place that will keep things the way it was when the pioneers first came. So Sundance has kept that ethic all through the last 40 years. And I hope we'll keep it that way.
In 2013, Governor Gary Herbert hosted a sold-out formal event called the Governor's Salute to Robert Redford, a Utah tribute to an American icon.
There's not anybody really any bigger than him. And he just lives up the street from us. He calls Utah home.
The governor and many others agreed that our state has benefited from Robert Redford's vision and career.
What really touches me most about tonight is that whatever differences may exist, that we could all come together and collaborate on something we all agree on, which is our love of this state and the country and the people.
Carol Makita, KSL 5 News.
Carol, thanks for joining us today on the line.
My pleasure. Thank you for doing this.
So I used to ski at Sundance Ski Resort, and it's kind of my neck of the woods, and I might have to take a drive this week to go pay my respects as I drive down past that. But what are some of your favorite memories about working with Robert Redford over the years?
I first interviewed Mr. Redford in 1984 when he premiered his film The Natural here as a fundraiser. And I was a young reporter, and we had only a very short amount of time. They kind of pushed it until after the film, and I had to get it on the 10 o'clock news. And it was rather a funny, very quick interview, and I think he didn't understand why I was rushing so much. And I thought when I got back to the station, by the way, we had 30 seconds before it aired by the time I finished it, that I would never interview him again because I was a ridiculous young reporter. But that was not the case. He knew that I got it on the air and opened the door for me to talk about Sundance and really everything that he was involved in over the years. And I really, Holly, believe, and I had an opportunity a few years ago to say to him that I put him in the category of the great arts visionaries of our state, including Marisa Bravanel and Willem Christensen, because he took this failing film festival and envisioned what it could become. And thousands of independent filmmakers the world over owe him a debt of gratitude because he gave them a showcase. He opened the door to those who would sponsor their films and show them. There are well-known names like Quentin Tarantino and Steven Soderbergh, whose careers were launched at Sundance. So I know that he put some of his own career aside to do this, but he saw it and he made it happen.
You know, it's interesting. The more I listen to you, the more I realize what he's done. I was talking about Jeremiah Johnson, then you mentioned The Natural, one of my favorite movies of all time. And then you talk about the Sundance Film Festival, which he was really, in large respect, responsible for. And that film festival, Carol, has been such a huge part of Utah. I know it's moving in a year or two, but it's been really career-changing for a lot of young producers as well, hasn't it?
It truly has, and young actors as well, and sometimes well-known names would come because their films, independent films, would be shown here. Colin Farrell this morning on the Today Show talked about In Bruges, his film, and meeting Robert Redford for the first time and having an opportunity to showcase that film and what a lovely experience it was. So this happened time and time again, and yet he tried to maintain his own career. And something else, you know, we think of feature films, but documentary films, which were his personal favorites. He used to go and sit in the audiences to watch them because he loved documentaries and was a producer of many documentaries. Perhaps people didn't realize that.
What do you think Robert Redford would want his legacy to be remembered as?
You know, he said he was never fond of the word star. He really never wanted people to concentrate on any one project or one film. He just said you keep going and going until you decide that it's over. And so he was always on to the next project. His mind was always working and going and helping people. I think he would want to be included in people's memories as really not just a Hollywood icon, which is the phrase that everyone is using right now, but as an arts visionary. I think he smiled when I said that, and I think he realized that he had done that. And we are here grateful in Utah for it because it's certainly built up the economy every year that Sundance Film Festival was here. And he was part of the landscape. He was an environmentalist. The preservation of the beauty of Utah was very much prominent in his mind always as well.
And in addition to the Sundance Film Festival, he also brought a series of the film industry into Utah. I mean, we didn't have as many films before him being done here in Utah as we did here, after. Yeah, but he brought a lot of that to Utah, didn't he?
Well, he did, and you heard in that story that he had to convince George Roy Hill. If you haven't seen Utah, you haven't seen the most spectacular scenery on earth, and so that opened up. I think people had certainly there were early films made in southern Utah, westerns, But it reminded people to come here and look at it, look at the entire state. We all know how beautiful it is. But yes, it was discovered by many filmmakers because of Robert Redford.
Thank you so much for joining us, Carol. We've been speaking with Carol Makita, who's had an opportunity to interview Robert Redford many times throughout the years. I'll just say this as we get ready to go to break, but one of my favorite, and this is a classic for me and my family, one of my favorites that came out of Sundance Film Festival is Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, there you go.
That
Yep.
premiered at the Sundance Film Festival 21 years ago.
Yeah. When we come back after the break, the Utah Supreme Court has given us a decision on what they're going to do and what their opinion is about the redistricting case. We're going to tell you what they decided yesterday after the break.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, as you just heard, actor Robert Redford has died at the age of 89. A statement from his publicist says Redford died at his Utah home in Sundance, the place he loved, surrounded by those he loved. The man accused of killing Charlie Kirk at UVU is scheduled to appear before a judge this afternoon in Utah County. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is expected to make a virtual court appearance. KSL legal analyst and Inside Sources host Greg Skorda says today the judge will read the charges, schedule his next appearance, and go over whether he can be released from jail.
He probably won't be released. I'm certain that with a death penalty potential case that he'll be held on no bail.
The Utah County Attorney's Office is going to discuss the charges against Robinson at a news conference at noon today that we will air live on KSL. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A New York judge has tossed out 2 terrorism-related charges against Luigi Mangione, the man accused of shooting down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The judge says the evidence presented to the grand jury was insufficient to support the terrorism charge, but a second-degree murder charge remains in place. Your money at this moment, the Dow in the negative, 0.3%, down 156 points to 45,726. Coming up, we're looking at mid-70s for the temps and mostly sunny. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Ticket packages for the Utah Mammoth 2025-26 season are available now. From full season and half season packages to mini plans and other flexible options, choose the ticket package that fits you best and be part of the action all season long. Call or text 801-325-PUCK to talk with a rep or visit nhl.com/Utah/tickets/season tickets to learn more.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Dave's, Bernina, and Provo and St. George wants your used sewing machine. Hi, this is Cindy Olson, and for a limited time, you can save up to 25% on a new Bernina with your trade-in. Any brand at any age or condition. Featuring 48 months, no interest on certain models. Save hundreds to thousands of dollars on all new Bernina machines. And check out the new Bernina 7 Series Pro lineup and the 3 Series, some price too low to mention. Even the most advanced sewing machine in the world, the Bernina 990, is on sale. Buy 2 Bernina accessories and get 1 free when you purchase Bernina presser feet, embroidery hoops, or Bernina big books. Hurry in for amazing bargains on trade-ins and just out-of-the-box special event demo machines that come with warranties. Only at Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo, where all new machines come with free classes and a 5-year warranty. DaveBernina.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
Time for Traffic and Weather Together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, not only are we delay-free all across the Wasatch Front right now, we're also accident-free, so you shouldn't have any issues on city streets or the freeways throughout Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber counties. It's also a great drive coming out of Tooele County on all the major roadways, Mid-Valley Highway, I-80, SR-36. From time to time, you might see a little bit of slowing getting over Parley Summit in either direction, but that's usually a slow-moving semi-truck trying to get over the big hill, and some traffic slowing down behind it, but right now, everyone's at speed. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we're looking at 76 for a high today, 77 tomorrow. Then we return to the 80s Thursday and Friday before a chance for showers moves back in on Saturday. Right now, it's still kind of partly cloudy, but sunny and 64 degrees, warming up a bit. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We've been talking about redistricting in Utah and a decision by a 3rd District Court judge that says the Utah legislature has until next week, September 25th, to redraw congressional maps. They requested a stay from the lower court. They said no and took it to the Utah Supreme Court that issued a ruling yesterday.
Yeah, they did. And this is a ruling that we've been waiting for some time. So the legislature filed an appeal because the judge gave them what they consider to be a little bit of a short leash in terms of getting their maps together. And at first, she said, I'm ordering the legislature to prepare maps by such and such a date. They said, you don't get to order us to do anything. You're not the boss of me, because there's a separation of powers. She clearly recognized that and say, okay, I'm inviting each side to submit their maps. We'll see what we can get done. The legislature said, you haven't given us enough time. They asked the Supreme Court to put a hold on her hold and say, let's do this all in 2028 when we can get everybody together. The Supreme Court weighed in yesterday and said, no, we're not going to do that. And so this, I mean, you and I can talk about this in a minute, but it may cause a special session of the legislature because they've got to get something together before this judge fairly soon.
Yeah, it will cause a special session. So one of the things that we know is that we need to have these maps done. I think the deadline was extended from November 1st to November 10th. But basically what we're looking at is as you lead up to the January, which feels really close, right? But the January will be the filing period. People need to know what district they'll be filing for. But the people within the district, the county clerks, et cetera, they'll need to know what voting districts the voters will be in. And so all of this has to be done really quickly. And they've got until next week to have it done. Today is interim day on Utah's Capitol Hill, and they actually had set aside tomorrow to be a special session in September. They put that on hold. And there were two reasons. One was the Charlie Kirk murder, but the other one was this redistricting. So they are going to have one in early October.
Okay, so no matter what, the state's going to be divided into the 4 congressional districts.
Yeah.
And no matter what, they'll be as balanced in terms of populace as possible.
Yeah.
But I think what the concern is, and I don't want to surmise, but you've got to do something with Salt Lake County. And right now it's divided 4 ways.
It will continue to be divided 4 ways.
It'll be continued divided at least two ways. I mean, you would expect that it's got to be divided. Because
Well,
there's no other way to do it.
You're right. You could divide it, I guess, in half. I don't know all the numbers, but I do know that Salt Lake City proper is too small to have one congressional district, but Salt Lake County is too big to have one congressional district. You can't just have that. But one of the things that the judge told the Utah legislature is they need to keep in mind the 4 criteria set out by the Proposition 4 that was passed in 2018, and that includes communities of basically keeping communities whole as much as they can, but also not taking into account partisan strength or not. So basically not going and saying, well, where do most of the Republicans live? That's what I want to put in this district. Where do the most of the Democrats live? I want to separate them, right? So that's one of the orders that needs to be taken into account.
Right. So this is a dumb question, but as a result of Prop 4, there was a redistricting commission set up. Didn't they propose maps of their own? So maybe is that a starting point, or is that
it could
no
be.
starter point?
It could be. I suspect that the legislature won't take those maps, and that was one of the things that was part of Prop 4. Is this independent redistricting commission created the maps, and they submitted, I think, 3, and out of many that were potentially proposed, they submitted at least 3. At least one had an urban-rural mix for all 4 congressional districts, and they submitted these. But also part of Prop 4, again, that separation of powers, that Prop 4 said you don't have to accept one of these, but if you don't, legislature, you do have to follow these guidelines. And that was where we got into the problem, is because the lawsuit happened after the legislature did not accept the maps, but they also did not follow the guidelines.
Right, and there was so many nuances to this case because the commission proposed its maps, the legislature said no, we're going to do this, and then we got to the whole point of, well, what role do citizen initiatives have in the first place? Ballot initiatives. Do the citizens make the law? Does the legislature make the law? And the courts weighing in, and of course the legislature saying we're people vote us in.
Right.
They put us in these positions so we can make these decisions.
That's right.
And the citizens were saying, but sometimes you don't. And if in the rare occasion when you don't, legal cannabis was one example.
Yeah.
Medical cannabis was one example. Expanded Medicaid was another example where the citizens said, wait a minute, we're frustrated. I'm just speaking here, maybe out of line, but the citizens are saying
that's basically what they said.
You got to change it up here. The thing about the redistricting was, I think, to the legislature's point, it was not entirely clear what the commission was going. I mean, it's not like here's the map, see you later, bye.
Right.
So and even with medical cannabis, they said medical cannabis, and the legislature said, okay, but we'll tell you what that means.
Right.
So I guess I can appreciate both sides.
Well, but that's why the judge weighed in on this case specifically to say we're really addressing the structure of government. I can't remember exactly how she phrased her words, but it's one of the issues where citizens have a right to weigh in on their government, right? They do have that right, and it's not just voting that allows them that right. So anyway, what it means in practicality is by next week, we need to have those maps submitted. I think public comment starts after that date, right? So you have public comment, and then there's going to be an appearance, special session. There's an appearance before the judge, right? There will be that kind of discussion. I'm not clear on how they are actually dividing the maps, like how they're drawing. I'm not sure if they appointed an ad hoc committee. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, and the judge is inviting basically anyone.
People can submit maps if they want, right? And they'll have to be able to argue them, I think, in front of the court.
I think what got the legislature in trouble was that block area in Mill Creek where you're literally within a mile of 4 different congressional districts, because then it appeared, I don't know, that you're really doing everything you can to divide Salt Lake 4 ways. I don't see a way that no matter who draws the maps that we're going to have a Democratic legislator. I mean, maybe we have a competitive district or something like that.
Right. I mean, tell that to Ben McAdams, right?
Yeah, I know, but even he lost. I mean,
right. After redistricting, right? And that was part of the point. So
I understand.
It wasn't drawn as a Democratic district, but it was not as strong as a Republican district as it is today. When Ben McAdams was in there, and remember, he beat Mia Love, who is Republican. So it's part of the ongoing conversation that's only tangentially related to the Find Me 5 Republican seats before the next election, right? For Texas, California has their own. That was Texas. California has their own thing. Missouri has now passed legislation there to create one new Republican stronghold, another strong Republican seat to give another seat to President Trump, if possible, right? The Republican Party as we head into 2026. So we'll see what happens with the election cycle. We'll see.
One last question before you lead out. The legislators don't necessarily need to live in their district.
Congressional legislators do not.
Yeah, that's right.
State leaders do. State legislators do, but if you're on the federal level, you do not have to live in the district you want to represent.
You've got to live in Utah.
You just have to live in Utah. That's right.
After last week's tragic event at UVU, victim services have been put in place by the FBI. We'll learn more about that and the resources what the FBI from the FBI agent in charge after the break. Remember that we're streaming live on KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. Nothing since the invention of the internet will change how we do business more than the AI revolution. Both good and bad, but certainly significant. Before the internet, communicating was personal, voice, writing, then email and text added a layer of mediation. Now AI programs will write communication for you, then they will read and summarize communication for you, putting yet another layer of mediation between you and your colleagues. Careful. The nuances of voice and facial expression often communicate very important emotions that are not captured by just text. In the coming weeks, I will discuss how AI will impact the workplace. If you want to know more about how to better communicate in the workplace, consider an MBA at Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
If you talk, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy. So we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful when Mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. I wanted a better relationship with Dad, so I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking troubling you? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want you to know that it's the little things that count. Any remodeler can say they treat customers right when it comes to siding, gutters, windows, and exteriors. It's hard to know for sure. If a contractor uses cheap generic nails instead of super grippy ridge shaft nails for your siding, would you even know? If they use cheap $4 caulk to install your new windows instead of paying $9 a tube for the good stuff, could you tell by looking? It all comes down to the details and trust. At RGS Exteriors, we only do things one way, the right way. We never cut corners. We never skimp on details. We never do less than the job requires. That's why we offer our industry's exclusive 10-year everything guarantee. And it's why we have the happiest customers. If you need any gutters, siding, or replacement windows, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online at rgsutah.com.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
If you're struggling with your mortgage, there's a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Nearly 3,000 people were in attendance at UVU last week when Charlie Kirk was shot. Victim services have been put in place by the FBI, and the investigation, because it's ongoing, we're not going to ask any questions about the investigation today, but we want to talk about what the FBI has put in place for victims, and I didn't realize that this was even something that the FBI did. So we have with us on the line FBI Salt Lake City Special Agent in Charge, Robert Bowles. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on today.
Could you just start by explaining what the FBI Victim Services Division does?
Sure. I think I'll start by saying when any type of critical event like this happens, the victims of it, the people involved, and the people and witnesses involved, they will leave as fast as they can, of course, to try to run to safety. And a lot of times they're going to leave personal effects behind. They're going to leave, cell phones, shoes, even baby carriages, anything behind to be able to get to safety. And so specific to these type of situations, we bring in our Victim Services Division, which is a team of multidisciplinary agents, analysts, victim specialists, child adolescents, forensic interviews, and even facility dogs to come in, and we build a situation where we can return these items, but also provide victim services while we're returning these items.
I'm familiar just from my own practice in doing criminal defense work with victim services that the FBI has provided as it relates to sort of crime victims, people who are they've suffered crime as a result of someone else's bad act toward them personally, and I've been incredibly impressed, a special agent, with what the FBI has done. This one, it seems to take on a different life because you've got a group of, and I'm reading that you're creating a center that could potentially, create some help for everyone that was involved there. I mean, these are 3,000 people, and they are victims, but not in the same sense that I'm used to. So can you tell us about what's being expanded here in relation to this particular event?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been down there a couple times to tour and to talk with them and to watch what's going on with the victims. And it's a really incredible operation that they've got set up. They've done this over and over again, and unfortunately, that's what that they're needed. But they are needed, and they know how to set this up. And so what they do is we work with UVU and local agencies to have a place to where the victims can come in. And what they do, what the victims do when they come in is they get triaged with some specific folks who kind of ask where they were and what happened, and then provide them the opportunity to sit down with one of our victim services, they're immediately assigned a specific victim services person to sit with them and walk with them the whole way through. If they have items that they need to collect, they'll bring them in and have them collect those items. And a lot of times that can be really emotionally challenging because that reminds them of the event. But they'll also take the opportunity to assess if there are any more information as to the crime that they would like to tell us about, and we have agents on hand to be able to talk with them. And then we also have worked with UVU to provide any kind of psychological services that are needed and that they would like to take part in to be able to give them more short-term and long-term care to recover from the traumatic experience that they were involved in.
Can I ask you how long these services might be available to the people who might need them?
Yeah, absolutely. For specific to the center that we've got stood up today and tomorrow, we have it open today from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and then tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. But of course, as they get into this system with us and get to know us, there is a longer-term opportunity to have reach out in collaboration both with UVU and with us.
And where can people who attended the event and who feel like they need to just talk to someone, where can they go to find out more about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have that virtual family assistance center that is located at the Young Living Alumni Center, 1062 West, 800 South in Orem. But also we have an online assistance center found at www.fbi.gov/Orem Victim Assistance. And that's where those impacted can access any resources.
So can I ask you, what is your message to Utahns today?
So I'm going to repeat what I said the other day about the victims, which is if you were there and if you witnessed what happened, you are a victim, and we are here to help. Please, please reach out to us. We are here to be able to talk through it with you. The FBI doesn't just investigate. We are a holistic agency that is dedicated to helping victims even after the crime has been committed. So please come down.
This is Salt Lake City Special Agent in Charge, Robert Bowles of the FBI. And just one last question, and it's more of a trivia question because Holly asked me earlier, does the FBI have an office here in Utah? And as I recall, Special Agent, not only do you have offices here in Salt Lake, but you had a Utah County or Provo office at one point, as I recall.
We do. So our primary office, it's called Headquarters City, which is headquartered in Salt Lake, and we have that Salt Lake field office here. But we also have what are satellite offices, which we call resident agencies, in and around Utah, Idaho, and Montana, which are all part of the Salt Lake Division, and a total of 17 satellite offices.
Thank you.
One in Provo.
Thank you again so much for joining us today. So, we've talked about it all week, and we're going to continue to talk about this, I think, Greg, but mental health professionals are reminding people that support is available. And as you might expect, calls to crisis lines spiked after this incident. So the Utah Crisis Line, which you can get to by dialing 988, saw a 22% increase in calls after the incident. Safe UT, which is a free app available statewide, has seen an increase in chats. And we're going to talk a little bit later also about talking to your children or children, right, in your sphere of influence about how to process these types of events, right? What they've seen, how to process it. But there's lots of help available.
Yeah, and we talked to Jay Evenson yesterday about the video and just what people saw, what they experienced, and I mentioned I haven't even watched the video because I don't care to, I don't want to. But if you were there, you didn't have a choice. If you're watching someone speak and something like that happens, you're living it, and then there's what's going to happen next. Am I going to be next? Am I in the line of fire? And you watching people run. I've never been in something like that. I mean, I hope I never am. But those, I can understand, even if it's like in weeks and months to come, if you were there at that event and something's bothering you, you're starting to have nightmares or you're just not sleeping or something, just check this out. I mean, it's a program they're
free.
Free, right.
Yeah.
And it can only help.
some of the stories that we saw right after the incident. I remember a story from the Deseret News that talked to a woman who had lived through the Columbine shooting, and she said that it had basically re-triggered her to go back to that initial response of terror, right, when something like that happened in front of her, and that she wanted to let people know, look, you're going to be able to move forward, you are going to be able to heal, but this has a long tail, and there's not ever a time where you say, oh, I'm totally over it, right? Yeah. That these things can impact you for the rest of your life, and it may or may not come up, in ways that you expect, right?
A virtual family assistance center set up by the FBI in Provo, Orem Victim Assistance at FBI.gov. And check it out if you were there or if you're traumatized by anything that related to that.
And if you left things behind. That was something that I didn't realize that they were doing, right, is the FBI has collected those things. So I did hear stories about people who left their baby strollers behind and those types of things as they ran. And so there is a way to get those things back for you.
Yeah, good for them. Good for the FBI. And that was nice of him to join us. When we talk about what happened at UVU, was UVU's security plan sufficient? I know we're playing Monday morning quarterback here, but after last week's shooting, questions are swirling about campus security, and now the Associated Press is weighing in with some comparisons. How does UVU stack up against other schools that Charlie Kirk visited? We'll break that down. Stay with us.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top local story this hour. We're just getting details about an elementary school student in Orem who was detained by police after a gun was found in their backpack. The Alpine School District says this happened yesterday at Bonneville Elementary, and it was another student who alerted the staff to the gun. The weapon was found unloaded and the student removed from campus. The man accused of killing political activist Charlie Kirk is expected to appear before a judge this afternoon in Utah County. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
22-year-old Tyler Robinson's expected to make a virtual court appearance for the first time since he was arrested and accused of gunning down Charlie Kirk at UVU last week. KSL legal analyst Greg Skorda says today the judge will read his charges, schedule his next appearance, and go over whether or not he can be released from jail.
He probably won't be released. I'm certain that with a death penalty potential case that he'll be held on no bail.
The Utah County Attorney's Office is expected to announce the formal charges against Robinson at noon today.
We will air that news conference with the Utah County Attorney live in the noon hour. Actor Robert Redford has died at the age of 89. We're told he passed away at his home near the Sundance Resort here in Utah, surrounded by loved ones. Your money at this moment, the Dow down this morning, 156 points to 45,726. Coming up, we're looking at mid-70s temperatures before a warm-up. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This summer, your carpets saw it all. Dirt, dust, even pet mess. This autumn, it's time to fall back in love with your home with Zero-Res carpet and air duct cleaning. Zero-Res uses patented ZR water technology to clean the right way with no harsh chemicals or sticky residues. That means carpets stay cleaner longer, dry in just hours, and are safe for kids and pets. Plus, Zero-Res backs it up with their Gotta Love It guarantee. If you're not happy, they'll re-clean it free within 30 days. And right now, get the carpet of any room cleaned for just $43 and take 15% off air duct cleaning services when you mention KSL. Fall back in love with your carpets today. Schedule online at Zero-Res.com. Spelled the same forward or backward. Zero-Res is the right way to clean.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next-day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Traffic and weather together now, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Heather Kelly.
We do have a couple of crashes now. One of them is northbound I-15 approaching 3300 South in South Salt Lake. It is over on the left shoulder. And so that is slowing traffic down just a little bit as you come up from the Murray area. And then if you transition onto eastbound I-80 heading into Sugar House, there's another crash over on the right shoulder. This one is near 700 East. That one doesn't appear to be causing too much delay right now. And you've got good speeds right everywhere else along the Wasatch Front. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we've still got a little ways to go before we hit today's predicted high of 76 degrees. Basically the same forecast tomorrow. Then it warms up into the 80s on Thursday and Friday, and those chances of rain come back on the weekend. Right now, it's 64 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
As we consider the fallout from the Charlie Kirk shooting last week, we've been watching since the show started today, FBI Director Patel being grilled by Congress about the FBI's handling of the shooting. Of course, I think the FBI actually handled it quite well. And people are also looking at what the level of security was at the UVU campus. Now, there were a lot of other venues where Charlie Kirk had spoken, and what they did was, it seems like they'd done, the Associated Press sort of did an analysis of the various venues and to what extent UVU's security compared with others. And I think the bottom line was that they didn't have the same level as some of the others.
And I do want to clarify that the Utah Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bo Mason said the university's security plan is actually not part of their investigation at this point. But it's part of the discussion, right? And so as part of the discussion, he has been around. He's gone all over the country. His Turning Point USA organization is going to continue to have discussions around the country. They're going to be at Utah State on September 30th, I think, for part of that conversation, right? They have not announced who the speaker will be in the evening. But one of the things that struck me in the Associated Press article is that there was a sheriff's department in Central California. They did reconnaissance, of course, which, I'm going to assume maybe that happened here too. But when they were doing reconnaissance for a speaking engagement he was going to do there, they were looking at escape routes. They were looking at law enforcement, having some 60 law enforcement officials. This was an indoor event in a church. They had a couple thousand people, and they also did rooftop surveillance.
Yeah, and hindsight is 20/20.
Exactly.
And you can always say that, but this is probably, I don't know how many of these speeches Charlie Kirk had given, but probably dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds.
Lots.
At various campuses. And I'm going to going to show my bias. This is Utah. It was Orem. It was Utah County. Like, if I were advising their security, and I wasn't, and I'm not trying to play Monday morning quarterback, I would have said, don't worry about it. But you can't say that. There has to be some level of security, and they did have security there. I'm not saying they were lax, but I was saying there was reason for them to believe, reasonably, that this would be a peaceful event.
So Utah Valley University has, as I understand, hosted Charlie Kirk before. He was inside. He was inside in a ballroom. And if you've been there, right, it's like any other indoor venue. There's only a few doors that you can go in, only a few doors you can go out of. But he wanted it to be outside. It was Charlie Kirk's people that told UVU, at least according to what I'm understanding from a spokesperson from UVU, that he wanted this event to be outside. He wanted to be closer to people. He wanted to allow more people to be there and to interact with him. And again, we've already mentioned in the show, it drew about 3,000 people, but we know at this point they didn't do rooftop surveillance. And again, you have to question, okay, at what level, at which point do you say, okay, now we need rooftop surveillance because this person at this level of celebrity, they don't need rooftop surveillance, but this person does need rooftop surveillance. I don't know. That's not my area of expertise. But now we are looking back and saying, okay, well, it doesn't have as much as in California.
Yeah, I mean, we did the same discussion when then candidate Trump was shot.
Yeah.
And an individual was on a rooftop or at some place nearby, and they're sort of out of their zone of where they were. The various law enforcement agencies said, well, that was out of our area.
Where they prepped.
Yeah, because in this day and age with high-powered rifles, and that's apparently what Robinson used, a 30-06 deer rifle, so to speak. He was apparently 175 yards away. That's a long shot, but maybe with technology and scopes and whatnot, not so much. But they did have 6 campus officers, which was a quarter of their force.
Uniformed. They also had plain clothes.
Right. Yeah. So, and the event, which had 3,000 people, it's a big event for that college, but
I don't think it's as big as graduation. I don't think it's as big as a sporting event, as some of the sporting events at least. So again, we've talked about this before. Are we going to start doing drones at football games? And maybe we should, right? Maybe we should have drones in the air for security, but you have to pass through a portal to get in. But I don't know what they're doing in the air for aerial security.
Well, I'll tell you what, because of this, we'll be doing things different.
We will
always do things different from
now
on.
One of the things, that's exactly right. So we learn from things. And I don't know that it's Monday morning quarterbacking as much as it is learning, because sometimes you just cannot anticipate the things. So there was a really bad fire in New York, and it was in the early 1900s, and it was called the Shirtwaist Fire. But one of the things that they realized then is that they had padlocks on doors because they were keeping workers there, right? They didn't want them to leave their shift. They wanted them to stay there and work. But what happened when it caught on fire, of course, is that nobody could get out. Well, now public buildings have to have escape doors. They have to have escape routes, right? So at some point, unfortunately, something bad happens, then you start to reevaluate and say, well, I hadn't thought of that possibility, and now I do have to.
Right, and sometimes that's what it takes. I mean, we used to walk over to the old courthouse over here on where Library Square is now. And just walk in, walk out, you go back in the clerk's office, do whatever, and then one day I'm over there and I hear gunshots, and it turns out a bailiff, I was not near it, but I was just within earshot of it. Of course, we all thought it was a pallet falling down in the parking garage. A bailiff is shot. A lawyer was shot, and
that was Ronnie Lee Gardner, wasn't it?
Ronnie Lee Gardner, and then we have court security now, and you go through a metal detector, and you go through one in virtually every court in the state. And sometimes I'll go to a court that I've been to 100 times, and I'm go to the bailiff like, "Hey, it's me," like. We don't care. Take your laptop out and walk through the metal detector.
Right.
And now they're searching your cars when you pull into the Matheson courthouse. They make you open up your trunk.
Interesting. I had no idea. Oh,
you got to stop your car. You got to open your trunk.
Look, so the Associated Press article that is looking at security at other places, they talked to a police chief at Illinois State University, and he said it's hard to protect somebody when you have people on all sides of him, and he's specifically speaking about Charlie wanting to speak outside. And he said that they ran a security plan when they came to his campus, that he ran a security plan past Charlie Kirk's team by phone and then did a walkthrough, right? And he's assuming, and I assume as well, that Utah Valley University did the same thing, that there was a plan, that there was a walkthrough. Charlie had his own security detail as well. Right. That was for up close, right? We also had armed police, we know that, and plainclothes police in the crowd as well. And then, again, now we're looking at, do we need to have aerial surveillance?
Right. And until this event, I guess, and I'll show my naivety, I didn't know Charlie Kirk. I didn't realize who he was or what his
and I was only
popularity was.
Yeah.
I
only know him tangentially.
Yeah, so, I mean, certainly the UVU people had looked at his history and looked at what he'd done at other campuses and probably even talked to people at other campuses and said, what level of security do you have? But I don't know that there was any reason to think that something like this would happen. And we'll change things in the future. Things will be a lot different from now on. You even talked about what do we do about football games and that type of thing.
I know.
We'll see.
It's, again, the trade-off between freedom and security.
Well, Israel says Gaza is burning as it launches a huge ground assault, going door to door in an effort to root out Hamas. Stay with us on KSL News Radio. You can stream us on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We'll be right back.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free. You just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
This week's movie show brought to you by My Hearing Centers. Schedule a hearing evaluation and be entered to win a set of premium hearing aids by tuning in Friday from 10 to 1.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Shop with any Mountain America credit or debit card for a chance to win a $5,000 vacation voucher. Simply tap, insert, swipe, or click to be entered to win now until October 31st. Use any card, win any trip from Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/anycard for official rules or to apply. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Insured by NCUA. Limited time offer. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You've still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
So the Israeli military has begun a new offensive in Gaza City targeting Hamas. They did promise that it was coming, and today's the day. The Israeli defense minister said this morning that Gaza is burning. And we have more from ABC's Guy Davies at the Foreign Desk.
Israel's long-awaited ground offensive in Gaza City has begun this morning. A series of massive explosions rocking Gaza's skyline. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are still believed to be in the city, despite the Israeli army issuing evacuation orders. Meanwhile, a body of UN experts said they had reason to believe Israel is committing genocide in the Gaza Strip. Israel denies this and says the new operation is necessary to destroy Hamas. Guy Davies, ABC News, at the Foreign Desk.
I don't understand the statement Gaza is burning. Why is that important? I don't. That seems so inappropriate.
So he posted on X, and this defense minister, it's Israel Katz, he posted on X that Gaza is burning, and then continued the statement and said the IDF strikes with an iron fist at the terrorist infrastructure, and IDF soldiers are fighting bravely to create the conditions for the release of the hostages and the defeat of Hamas.
And I completely understand that. Israel has largely destroyed Hamas. They didn't get their hostages back, and that's been a huge problem from within the country. And I think that their administration is still stinging from that. But boy, the method to their madness is just, I don't know, it's troubling, because there are too many innocent citizens. And I understand you've got to root out Hamas, and Hamas is doing what the worst thing they can, which is hiding in civilian areas, civilian hospitals, civilian places where you just, how do you attack that, even if you need to root out the evil? But this is a conflict that's troubling on so many levels.
It is a conflict, and people who are there, people who live there, say this is the worst so far in the almost 2-year war, and it's coming by sea and by air and by land, and people are trying to go, but there's not really a place for them to go. Right, so they try to flee the city, and routes are cut off. They try to take their kids to places where they feel like they can be safe, and they can't get there because they've been starving. Like they're really struggling to find a place to go.
Gaza health officials reported at least 70 people were killed on Tuesday, most of them in Gaza City, as airstrikes swept across the city and tanks advanced, where a missile had destroyed 2 multi-story residential buildings during the night. People clambered over an immense amount of debris,
rubble, yeah.
And it sounds like it was just horrible, but 70 people died, and they're saying Tuesday, which means early today, right?
Yeah, today. And look, that number will rise. I think there's no question. And again, it's war is just ugly, right? And this is a war. And civilians and women and children, right, they're suffering and trying to get to safety with what they have, with what they still have available to them, which is not a lot. But Israel has told them, right, we're coming in. This is going to be a massive offensive. And today they said, we're here. And Marco Rubio, I think yesterday, said, we're hoping for a diplomatic solution, but time is running out.
You know, it was like the war in Ukraine, where the administration came in, and I think Trump's words were, what are they doing? Although his were a little more graphic than that. But like he thought, and I think that rightfully so, that we had gotten some ground. We'd done something to get a ceasefire there. But Israel just didn't. They weren't satisfied with that, and I think in their defense, or I don't know what the word is, their position is, if we back out, Hamas just digs in.
Mm-hmm.
They get bigger, they get stronger, they get more resources. We can't let up, and so they're not letting up. It's just that 70 people died this morning.
Well, it's again, you have people who are saying they're too poor. There's one person quoted in a Reuters article I'm looking at that said it's like escaping from death towards death, so we're not leaving. The IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Fund or Defense Force, said it estimated 40% of people in Gaza had left. That some 350,000, but that leaves 60% of the people who were there are still there, and I think there's 47 hostages.
Yeah, still waiting.
Mm-hmm.
In Brussels, a spokesperson for the European Union said that they were going to impose new sanctions on Israel, including suspending trade provisions. So, I mean, the international community is not necessarily lining up behind Israel as much as America is.
Yeah, that's right. The United States has really lined up behind Israel still, at least at the top. And of course, that's been part of the news cycle as well, is are you on the side of Palestine or Gaza or Israel, right? So that's what we're seeing also. But President Trump is saying we're trying to get Hamas completely rooted out. Of course, the question always is what or who takes the place of that, right? So if you root out the Taliban, who's going to come in and replace them? If you root out Hamas, who's going to come in and replace them? Because there is a power vacuum. Israel says that they want to be there.
Right. And the Israel Defense Force said that they estimate that 40% of the people in Gaza City had left. Hamas said 350,000 people had left their homes.
Right.
In the eastern part of the city. I mean, this is we're sitting here, in looking at what's going on in our country and being, it's obviously very upsetting, but these people are being displaced. They're moving. Their buildings are being bombed, and they're dealing with this every day. And Gaza's been cut off. I don't know where they are right now, but they were cut off from food supplies and other things for some time too.
There's a little bit going in, but there's just not enough, right? And that's again another problem. There's just not enough. And so when you want people to leave, but they don't have enough energy because they haven't had enough food, that makes it hard for them to leave. We also know, that there has been another front, and that's over in Yemen, in response to drone and missile fire. So there's Palestinians, again, are trying to flee Gaza City, but there is a famine going on. There were about 1 million people living in Gaza before the warnings to evacuate came ahead of that. And again, about 40% have left.
Yeah, and speaking of famine, Gaza's health ministry said 3 more Palestinians died of malnutrition in the past 24 hours. That brings the total up to 428, at least 428. And Israel, of course, is claiming that number is exaggerated, that it's not that bad. But, I mean, that's a horrible way to think about suffering.
So the UN is saying that Israel's committing genocide in Gaza. Israel says, no, we're not. But they have basically done an inquiry, right? And we've talked about that briefly before. You can have a declaration of genocide, but you can also have individual countries or organizations say, we believe that a genocide is being committed here. That does put additional pressure on, but Israel is just saying we're not doing that. That's not what's happening here.
This all started in, was it October 7th?
October 7th, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
yep.
1,200 people were killed, 251 hostages were taken. And as a result of that, here we are coming up very, very close now on 2 years.
Yep.
and it's not over. And I don't know how it ends. I mean, we're talking rhetorically now, but what happens? Israel's dug in, and they in some respects they don't have choice. They've got to do what they've got to do. Their people they've still got hostages out there, and Hamas is just hanging by a thread.
Also dug in, right? Yeah. Also dug in. So it's a story that struck me this morning, right? That it's Israel saying Gaza is on fire.
If you look at the pictures,
it is on fire.
Right. I can't even imagine what that city's like.
It's
how do you
rubble.
function? What do you go to school?
No.
Do you go to work? Do you watch TV?
No, in the same.
What do you do?
Not in the same way.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm even seeing in the Associated Press that families of hostages are telling Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, just stop it. Just stop doing this. Right. And one of them is saying that his son is in immediate danger because Netanyahu sent his troops into Gaza, right? He is certain, this dad is certain that his child as a hostage who's still alive will no longer be alive after this offensive.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully
we are so cheery on our show.
Yeah, right. Well, it's going to get better.
Not anytime soon.
Right.
When we come back, we're actually going to talk about Discord. So investigators said that the suspected murderer of Charlie Kirk was a regular user of the platform Discord. I've learned a lot more about Discord and other online chat groups that have been linked to extremist behavior. Stay with us, and we're going to break it down for you when we come back after our break.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. A student was detained at Bonneville Elementary School yesterday after school officials say a gun was found in their backpack. The Alpine School District says the gun was reported by another student to a staff member and was not loaded. Orem police were called in to investigate. We do not know if that student is still in police custody or their age. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. FBI Director Kash Patel is answering questions about the investigation into Charlie Kirk's death.
Having been criticized for initially suggesting Charlie Kirk's shooter was in custody when he wasn't, the FBI director told senators he was behind the release of surveillance video.
A few hours later, that suspect was in custody.
Kash Patel says the investigation is now focused on an online chat Tyler Robinson took part in.
We're also going to be investigating anyone and everyone involved in that Discord chat.
Robinson reportedly confessed to the group. Patel says the FBI will now look into more than 20 people.
It's a lot more than that, and we're running them all down.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Your money at this moment. The Dow is down 92 points. The S&P is down 5 points. And coming up, mostly sunny skies. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Cooler weather. What a relief. Unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill's going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
When you crash your car, you get it fixed. When your computer crashes, you get a new one.
But what will you do if you've been saving in a 401k or an IRA and the market crashes? If you're in your 30s or 40s, you'll be just fine. But if you're in or near retirement, you could be in trouble. Mike Stevens and his team at Capital Wealth Advisors are here to help. They can run a risk analysis to see if you're too heavily invested in the market. Don't let the ups and downs of Wall Street control you or your retirement dreams. Call 801-210-5500 today to schedule your risk analysis with Mike Stevens and the team at Capital Wealth Advisors. That's 801-210-5500. Crashes happen. Question is, are you ready? Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, crews are still cleaning up a crash northbound I-15 in South Salt Lake. It's just before you get to the 33rd South exit. It is over on the left shoulder, not really causing any slowing anymore like it had been. And then if you transition eastbound I-80, there's also a crash right near 700 East, blocking a right lane and shoulder. That one is slowing traffic down just a little bit as you come over from State Street. Otherwise, you've got a pretty good drive all across the Wasatch Front with no problems going through Parley's Canyon or coming in or out of Tooele County. Fall in Alta is here, and so is your exclusive locals offer. Snow Pine Lodge is giving Utah residents 20% off lodging. Get away from the daily hustle. Enjoy mountain mornings and golden colors. Visit snowpine.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny with a high of 76 today, 77 tomorrow. We'll see temperatures rise after that to the low to mid 80s. Right now, 66 and sunny. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Investigators have said that the suspected murderer of Charlie Kirk was a regular user of the platform Discord. And just this morning, Senator Hawley of Missouri questioned Patel about the suspect in Charlie Kirk's murder and brought up the use of the Discord platform.
Reports have suggested that the FBI is investigating a network of groups that may have had some knowledge of the shooter's plans. Can you give us any details on that, following up what you already said in public? How's the FBI working to find other potential accomplices, folks who may have known about the shooter's plans, folks who may have encouraged him? Any update on any of that?
So in terms of what we do for an interrogation perspective, we go and reach out to the family and community immediately. And we've conducted those investigations and interrogations with local law enforcement, and we're continuing to do that because those closest to the suspect are going to hopefully know the most about the suspect and his beliefs and his ideology. On top of that, unfortunately, it has been leaked that there was a Discord chat, and for those unfamiliar with it, it's a gaming chat room online that the suspect participated in. So what we've already done is serve legal process, not just on Discord, so that the information we gathered is sustained and held in a evidentiary posture that we could use in prosecution should it be decided to do so. And we're also going to be investigating anyone and everyone involved in that Discord chat.
Okay, very good. I see the public reports that the Discord thread had as many as 20 additional users. It sounds like you're trying to run down all of that to see if that's accurate. who else may have been on that thread, what they may have known. Is that fair to say?
It's a lot more than that, and we're running them all down.
It's a lot more than 20?
Yes, sir.
So I've never heard of Discord. I mean...
Well, luckily, we have somebody who can tell us about it. That's KSL5 TV's Mike Anderson, who he looked into this platform and how it can lead to extremist behavior. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Yeah, of course.
What can you tell us about Discord?
So, Patel mentioned there that it's used for gaming, and that's initially why it was created, but it's grown into much more than that. I actually got on it for gaming years ago, but people use it to set up gaming voice chats while they're doing cooperative play or competitive play, and then chat about the game afterward. But nowadays, it's used almost like Reddit, where you can have forums for all kinds of topics. I'm a member of a Discord for Taylor Swift, so you can be in there for any amount of reasons.
So, do people do they become obsessed with it? I'm not a gamer. I have kids who are gamers, but what is it about it that makes it so appealing, maybe?
Yeah, so I talked with sort of an expert, former FBI agent Greg Rogers, and he has dealt with people in militia groups. He's been undercover, and he says that people have been involved in, not only Discord, but just similar online forums where people get really buried because they're surrounded by people that may share their ideologies, and it could be, extreme views or very splintered views. But you get around all these people that kind of confirm your biases and your beliefs and maybe your conspiracy theories. And so people would be in there hours a day, sometimes all day. And he said it literally becomes their reality.
Let's play what he said, Mike.
Dealt with these people directly, and they would spend hours in these, areas and become obsessed with it. That sort of becomes their daily reality. Unfortunately, there's too much unsupervised time on these types of devices, laptops, cell phones. Parents need to do a much better job of knowing who their kids are talking to. It's, the next question's always, well, why didn't you call law enforcement? And you're like, oh, I've known this guy forever. I didn't think he would do something like that.
Well, I think that's a fair question, right? So what are parents supposed to do, especially maybe in this case where he's 22 years old?
Yeah, what can you do?
Yeah, that's tough. And the question there would be, when did he start doing this activity? But, the one thing I talked to him about is, the fact that he is an adult, and adults do get into these, deep into these threads and forums. And the thing to watch out for is that if you've got, someone a loved one who's, in their bedroom on the computer for, 5, 6, 7 hours a day, that's a red flag. I mean, they need to get out and touch some grass and get off of that. And that's when it becomes, the situation where it becomes their full reality is when they're on for that long.
Mike, did you see anything on this platform that would lead a young person sort of down this rabbit hole, this step toward radicalization? I mean, did you see some chats or some things that were there that caused you some concern?
You have to start with an interest. It is very focused on gaming, and you can obviously get in there for different reasons that aren't attached to gaming. But and as we've heard about Tyler Robinson, it seems like he was very into the video game Helldivers 2, which may have been where he got into a discussion. So from there, you get into a small group, you start having discussions, that group can grow, and so the chats that I've seen have been very sort of nothing concerning. But depending on which group you fall in with and the discussions you start having, that can change everything.
Is this platform something that is more predominantly used for boys than men, or is it pretty gender neutral?
Because of the gaming focus, it's probably widely more used by men. Many of the users are in there for cooperative or competitive gaming, and these are like, online shooters. Helldivers 2 is a third-person view online shooter, and so because of that, you got mostly men in there.
Last question, Mike. If you were a parent or you're advising parents today, what would you have them look for in relation to what their children are involved in on the internet?
Well, I mean, the way I approach it, we have a teenage boy, and we've had teenagers before, and the way we approach it, we just don't have online chats with random people. I think that's the focus. In my opinion, Discord, unless it's heavily policed, and that they're only there with their friends, which is very hard to know. To me, it's something for adults. It's not something for your teenager to get into.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mike. It's a conversation I'm sure we're going to continue to have. Look,
something I'm not even familiar with. I mean,
I know, because it was
Discord.
This is after our time,
Yeah.
right? Video games, when video games first came out, it was like Pong on the TV, and you had this little thing that bounced back and forth. I've never done those kind of video games. I've never been on Discord. But I do have my kids game, and some of them will do multiplayer games, and it's a way for them to stay connected. I mean, he mentioned as long as you know everybody in the chat, right? So some of my kids do play multiplayer games together that they don't live next to each other necessarily, but they'll get on and they'll play a game together. But I can see how quickly this type of behavior can lead you down, as we've said, a rabbit hole where you end up in something where you start talking about killing people.
Yeah, and then people just start becoming radicalized and becoming more and more involved in they become a person that they're not. I mean, this kid that we're going to arraign today in 3 hours, 4 hours, who knows where he was a year ago, but now he's in jail and he's going to be facing a death penalty charge here in a few minutes.
Yeah, that's really sad. So, parents, if you're listening, we know that the killing of Charlie Kirk has created a massive uproar of negativity on social media, and that it's very likely that some of your kids and our kids have watched the graphic video of the shooting. So how do you open up that conversation with the kids to address what they may be seeing online? Luckily, we're going to have a psychologist join us to help us navigate that. Stay with us.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
It was a doubleheader in August and really hot inside the concession stand. So instead of waiting for people to come to me, I figured I'd walk around yelling, "Hot dogs here!" And that's how I became the first hot dog vendor in sports.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in all states.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or low back pain, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And here's Dennis.
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just
just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. Good Feet just took that pain away, and I could do my job, and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow is going to be. It's going to be positive, and it's going to be pain-free.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. Walk-ins are always welcome. Or find the location nearest you and schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Inside Sources.
We've talked about how the video, and there was more than one, but how the video of Charlie Kirk being shot and the graphicness of it went around the world really quickly. I think the last thing I saw was, over 100 million views. I mean, it's wild how many people have seen it. And it's like it can't be normal. And yet we have, it seems like for some people, we're almost desensitized to it, which is also not normal. And kids who are chronically online shrugging their shoulders and yet at the same time trying to process all this stuff. Luckily, we have a licensed clinical psychologist with us, Dr. Tom Golightly, to help us walk through how do we process this ourselves and how do we walk our kids through it?
Well, I think some of the difficulty that we have is we have our own reactions, right? And we definitely want to give those space. The worst thing we can do is to not let that out. And at the same time, if we have an impressionable little one around us, they're going to do what we do more than what we say. And so they're going to pick up on how we're reacting, how many times we view this thing. If we're trying to break down all of these different angles, they're going to take in all of that energy, and they're going to incorporate that into what they're thinking, to what they're feeling, and their ability to manage that is pretty limited. So I think the first thing before we even discuss anything is to be thoughtful of our reactions. And the second thing is to really limit the exposure on this. I don't know if that's a good thing for them to be watching it. And if you're aware of, I would be asking questions. Have you seen? What have you viewed online and on your social media? And really talk about limiting that exposure as we would with most social media, but specifically with something like this. How do we turn that down? How do we turn the volume down? And we have control over how we can turn the volume down of the things that are being yelled at us, like these videos that are in our face.
In this situation, Dr. Golightly, the genie's sort of out of the bottle, and the images are out there, and they're all over the place. And no matter how restrictive a parent could be, it's going to be hard to see that your child never sees something like this, right? Because friends or someone else. I mean, so how do you address your child sort of prospectively, like, hey, you may be exposed to something like this?
I think that's where it's important that we maintain our boundaries around it. If they see us watching and rewatching, helping them, you're right, we're not going to be able to prevent all of the exposures, but help empower them to make choices about not needing to engage if someone is bringing it to them. That's a really good conversation to have, not just with a critical incident or a violent incident like we just had, but for a lot of social media use. But then the other thing is, asking them what it's like for them to view that. Help them start talking out loud about their experiences and just be curious about it and be kind, be compassionate with whatever it is that they're reporting and how they might be experiencing those things. And it really empowers them to come to you as the parent or the trusted adult figure to help them process out loud about this. It's really important for them to be speaking about it as well, just like it is for an adult, but we can be that sounding board for them.
So what are some of the age appropriate things, and as kids are younger and then maybe teenager? I'm thinking of other traumatic events. I had a daughter who, as a teenager, had a friend die in a car accident, and she didn't want to drive for like 3 years, right? How do you help encourage parents to talk to their younger kids and then maybe their teenagers about traumatic events?
I think what's really important is to recognize that it's going to be a little bit more difficult. The area of the brain that's used to process emotion, our executive functioning, it's not quite fully developed in adolescence. And so being patient and helping them understand that there are big emotions, that it's okay that there are big emotions, and that it's okay that you're, a little gun shy to do some different things, especially in the wake of a big incident. I know with my children, we had big events happen, scary events happen, and it's okay to acknowledge, like, you know what, our emotion is going to be different around this, and let's take time and space and really provide that for our children and help them reintegrate, right? As I hear about someone not wanting to drive, of course, that's a natural reaction. And how do I help them kind of get the help that they need to get back and being a little more engaged in what a normal activity would be? So I think the big thing is that we provide that time and space for them, and that we're patient with them, and that we go at their pace, that we're curious about it. And if they don't want to talk about it, let's give them that. But, keep the dialogue open as much as we can, which is a struggle for teenagers not under trauma. But with trauma, there's a little added degree of difficulty.
We spoke earlier with the agent from the FBI about a center that they're setting up down there to help victims, and these are people that were sort of experienced this. And we're also learning that UVU is offering on-campus grief sessions. I think probably geared towards students, but even younger people. Dr. Golightly, how would you, if you felt like your younger child was having these issues or problems, are these resources that you could take them to, or are they maybe too young for that, or what would you do?
I think where I would start, if they're school age, there are school counselors and school psychologists that are trained to kind of manage that age and developmental stages. And that might be a really, really good place to start. If there's something they can do during the day, that would be really good. That's accessible to them. And those professionals will also be able to kind of put an eye on things and be another trusted adult, and they might be able to make a good referral source. Another one is a pediatrician or someone who's trained to work with children in therapy. So counseling and psychotherapy is available. But I would say that the immediate crisis of it, the grief counseling, those types of things, is one stage of that. And then it's kind of reengaging, as was mentioned before, helping them get back behind the wheel, right? Or something like that. How do I get back on campus? That might be a really, really difficult thing for anyone that was there during the event. So there's kind of two types of different things that are going on. One, the immediate crisis response, and then two, the ongoing therapy that might need to help with the exposure and reintegration into some semblance of normal.
Are you concerned with what's happening online with the response to this? It seems like division is getting deeper and louder.
Yes, I think it's when we don't get the immediate feedback of seeing someone's hurt in their face, knowing that we've caused damage, we become a little more emboldened to say the things that are hurtful and mean. And it seems like in that forum, it escalates very, very quickly. And that is concerning. And that kindness and curiosity that to try to perspective take is an art that seems to be getting lost in that forum. And I think it's really important that we try to teach others around us and behave in certain ways, that we are extending that kindness and that genuine curiosity, because that is going to help us build the bridges. But the tenor right now is not going to get us where we need to go as far as calming the situation and being part of the solution instead of making the problem a little worse.
One final question from me. We had a conversation just before we had you on about Discord and how those types of chat rooms or groups can lead to an altered sense of reality. Have you seen that very much in your practice? And if so, is the solution just get off the internet more?
Well, I think we behave in certain ways. One of the advantages, I think, of a graduate education was you constantly had professors that were challenging your biases. And it was a humbling experience, to say the least, as a training therapist. But I think that's one of the things that when we go to the same groups and get the support is we're just getting confirmation bias, and we get more and more stuck in those, and then it creates that us versus them. And I think it's really important that we challenge those, that we actually talk to people that don't think like us, so that we can better understand them and really start to see the world from very various viewpoints. And not to do it to criticize an argument, but to genuinely understand and see where they're coming from to kind of build that bridge.
Thanks, Doctor. That was Dr. Tom Golightly, licensed clinical psychologist. He's been a friend of the show, and there's so much going on with our young people right now, and hopefully our listeners are getting some resources. This morning we learned that Utah icon Robert Redford died at the age of 89. We are told that he passed away at his home near the Sundance Resort up Provo Canyon. Let's talk more about his legacy after the break. Stay with us on KSL News Radio. Remember, you can stream us on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Verl Johansson. KSL's top local story this hour: the case building against Tyler Robinson is being watched by people in the news around the globe. So will he be able to get a fair trial in Utah County? KSL legal analyst and Inside Sources host Greg Skorda says the case is set to be heard in Provo, and Utah County is the second most populated county in the state.
So a change of venue means a change within the district. I don't know that would apply in this case.
He says to move the case out of the district to Salt Lake City, the defense would have to poll the population and prove the vast majority have made up their minds and would not be able to fairly judge the evidence. Skorda says that's unlikely to happen. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: a Los Angeles game developer is heading to prison after admitting he was flying a drone that crashed into a firefighter aircraft while it was working to put out a fire.
Peter Aikman is a 57-year-old game developer. It was his drone that slammed into what's called a Super Scooper, a firefighting aircraft that was battling the Palisades fire in January. The drone caused damage to the plane, which was taken out of service and could not continue fighting the wildfires. A federal judge giving Aikman 14 days in federal prison and 30 more days of home detention. He also has to pay $156,000. Aikman has written a letter to the Super Scooper crew expressing remorse and apologies. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Your money at this moment: the Dow is down 114 points, the S&P is down 4, the NASDAQ up just 1 point at the moment. Coming up, a little bit of sunshine and cloudy weather. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
You know, in Box Elder County, they're all about the bucket list. Want to go birding at the premier birding destination in the western United States? Well, check off the Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge. How about land art? The spiral jetty and sun tunnels will leave you inspired. Or stand on the spot where the Union and Central Pacific Railroads joined and forged the destiny of a nation. Yep, Golden Spike National Historical Park is like no other place. Check. Splash, boat, camp, or fish your day away? Willard Bay State Park will guarantee a good time. Soak in a natural hot spring with the highest mineral content in the world? That would be Crystal Hot Springs. You'll feel rejuvenated. Eat at Utah's original steakhouse. Maddox Ranch House is perfection. Check. A 1920s diner. The Idle Owl Cafe will transport you back in time. As you empty your Box Elder County bucket list, you'll find a whole new set of adventures to fill it up again. Fill up your bucket list at visitboxeldercounty.com.
It all started with a commitment to comfort. Gillette Heating and Air is proud to be Utah County's go-to team for expert HVAC and plumbing solutions. Need a repair, upgrade, or seasonal tune-up? Don't let cost hold you back. With 0% financing available, it's easy to get the work done now and pay later. Plus, save $100 on any repair over $500 and keep your system running strong with a professional tune-up before the heat hits. Visit GilletteHVAC.com or call 385-GET-COOL to book today. Homegrown service pros, financing made simple, comfort made easy.
Carrier. Turn to the experts. A Carrier factory authorized dealer.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with AutoPay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 in monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
The KSL News Radio Movie Show comes to My Hearing Centers Friday from 10 to 1. But first, discover what My Hearing Centers can do for you. My Hearing Centers uses advanced technology to diagnose and treat hearing loss. These comprehensive evaluations determine the best treatment options. Then enjoy lifetime support with regular check-ins, cleaning, and maintenance. Call My Hearing Centers at 801-701-1629. 801-701-1629 for more details. My Hearing Centers has offices from Ogden to St. George.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Ricky Meese.
It's a delay-free drive on the Valley freeways, but not crash-free. We still have the clearing of an accident eastbound I-80 at 7th East. It is out of traffic on the shoulder. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's high 76 degrees with partly cloudy skies. We'll get more of the same tomorrow before jumping back into the 80s on Thursday and Friday. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 68 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Verl Johansson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
In a bittersweet moment, my children both sent me a picture of Jeremiah Johnson this morning. Robert Redford as Jeremiah Johnson in his big overcoat, and and just it was a fun movie that our family always enjoyed. And Robert Redford just, I don't know, one of my favorite actors, really. And what Carol Makita talked to us earlier just about some of the movies that he's been in, and it made me appreciate, of course, we all think of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid,
right? It's kind of the kickoff,
he's Sundance, right?
Yeah,
and then you've got The Natural, The Sting, one of those fun movies. And he was just in a flurry of others. I mean, he was a great actor, and he played different kinds of roles and different kinds of things. But I always kind of liked the rugged outdoors guy.
He was is definitely an icon, right? I mean, I asked her, interestingly, what she thought about what he wanted his legacy to be, and he didn't want it to be that he was a Hollywood icon. He wanted it to be for other things, that he was always moving. But she also shared with us earlier in our show about her first interview with Redford. It was kind of sweet how he evolved to be just a great inspiration in Utah.
I first interviewed Mr. Redford in 1984 when he premiered his film The Natural here as a fundraiser. And I was a young reporter, and we had only a very short amount of time. They kind of pushed it until after the film, and I had to get it on the 10 o'clock news. And it was rather a funny, very quick interview, and I think he didn't understand why I was rushing so much. And I thought when I got back to the station, by the way, we had 30 seconds before it aired by the time I finished it, that I would never interview him again because I was a ridiculous young reporter. But that was not the case. He knew that I got it on the air and opened the door for me to talk about Sundance and really everything that he was involved in over the years. And I really, Holly, believe, and I had an opportunity a few years ago to say to him that I put him in the category of the great arts visionaries of our state, including Marisa Bravanel and Willem Christensen, because he took this failing film festival and envisioned what it could become. And thousands of independent filmmakers the world over owe him a debt of gratitude because he gave them a showcase. He opened the door to those who would sponsor their films and show them. There are well-known names like Quentin Tarantino and Steven Soderbergh, whose careers were launched at Sundance.
And I always just enjoyed the Sundance Film Festival, not necessarily because I'd attended it, because it brought all these films in that you would watch later on, and you'd think, wow, that was really brilliant. Yeah, it was up at the Sundance Film Festival.
I mentioned earlier Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And there were so many others, and I don't know. It just was I hate to see it leave. I hate to see Robert Redford leave. He was such a larger than life person for Utah, and created that whole area up there that's named after his
Sundance Resort.
Yeah, Sundance Resort, Sundance Film Festival. He was a Sundance kid in every way, and that was another great movie, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That was just such a powerful movie. I loved that one.
I actually didn't realize he was almost 90. That's
89 years old.
I mean, that's getting up there.
He still looked like $1 million.
He did still look like $1 million.
He had that kind of weathered look even when he was in his 30s and 40s, and he just kept it.
That's what made him so popular.
Yeah. The Natural. I mean, that's a movie I have to. You watch the last 10 minutes of that movie. It's I don't know if you appreciate it, but the line where he says, "Pick me out another winner, Bobby." Pick me out a winner, Bobby. Tell the little kid, grab him a bat, and then he hits the home run.
Oh, look, I haven't watched that one, but I'm familiar with All the President's Men, right? The Watergate story.
Right, yes.
Anyway, an icon lost this morning. Sad.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to do fun facts of the day a little early because we've got to talk about a press conference coming up. But on today is National Play-Doh Day. So do you know Play-Doh? The little clay,
we all had that.
And it smells like it has a smell. You actually can get it now where the smell is supposed to be something. It's supposed to be grape smell or whatever.
My oldest daughter called it Play-Doh. But
exactly. And kids eat it.
Oh, yeah. It smelled and it had this salty kind of.
Yeah. If you make homemade salt dough, that's really what you do. You use like a cup of salt and a cup of flour or something like that.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, and then it covers your hands, and then you've got like white salt.
You got to get the color.
Yeah, well, you can add food coloring. Anyway, so today's National Play-Doh Day. So on this day in 1620, the Mayflower set sail. So it did not, of course, we know later in November it lands in the New World, but on this day it set sail.
From?
You're England.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
England.
Okay. Somewhere in England, yes.
On this day in 1875, James Cash Penney, who was an American department store founder, was born.
Pennies.
J.C. Penney.
Oh, there you go.
It's James Cash Penney. Yep, that's exactly right.
There still are some pennies around.
Really? Are there?
Maybe they're just shells, but there's one in Ogden, a Penny's.
Yeah, so J.C. Penney, right? His name was James Cash Penney. So his store was around for a long time. Still around, I guess, in a few places. On this day in 1920, the Wall Street bombing occurred at 12:01. So we've talked a lot about radicalization, online, social media, etc. But this was a person who drove a horse-drawn wagon up to Wall Street in New York, and it was filled with, I think if I remember the story, it was filled with fertilizer and blew up. They did it to be a bomb, and it killed 38 people and injured 143.
Wow. In what year?
1920.
Oh, I don't remember that. I don't even remember that event, the
Well,
Wall Street bombing.
you would
Not
not
that I would remember. I don't even remember hearing about it. I should.
Right, exactly, because we don't talk about it a lot, but it was an early act of terrorism, even though I don't think we even had a word really for it at that time. Right. So
And it was fertilizer, like the Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah. I mean, not artificial. It was probably
Right,
naturally made. It may have been gunpowder. Now you're going to make me look it up.
Sorry.
It's okay. On this day in 1932, Gandhi began a fast. So we know Gandhi as a peaceful protester, right? So we were having this conversation about what is, peaceful, what's de-escalation, what can we talk about creating this society where we can disagree better. Gandhi used fasting as a form of protest.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't advocate for armed rebellion. He didn't advocate for overthrowing the government in a way that we would typically think of that. He went on a fast and he protested that way. And then in 1941, Adolf Hitler, this is not cheery, he ordered that for every German who was killed, 100 Yugoslavs should be killed.
Oh, good heavens.
He wanted to shift the balance of power, right? We know that. He wanted to be the world power owner, and then the owner of all world power. And then on this day in 1997, Apple Computer named co-founder Steve Jobs the interim CEO.
And that was huge. And the rest of that is, of course, history.
Right. And that was, oh gosh, what's his name? And now you know the rest of the story.
Yeah. On this day. Well, on this day in 2025, we lost one of our Utah icons, Robert Redford. We'll never forget him, and I think we pay a little homage to him here. Watch a Robert Redford film this weekend.
I know.
Watch The End of the Natural.
I'm going to drive through Sundance, really, and see the trees are starting to turn. It's
Perfect
a beautiful
time of year
drive.
to go up there. Yep. We'll be right back.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Since coming to the Depot District in 2024, Asher Adams has become a distinctive part of downtown's hospitality scene, blending historic charm with modern design and thoughtful comfort. Director of Marketing, Katie Van Riper, joins us with more.
Salt Lake City's historic Union Pacific Depot has been beautifully reimagined as Asher Adams, the city's newest boutique hotel and hospitality destination. Built in 1909, this architectural landmark now features 225 thoughtfully designed guest rooms and suites, blending the building's timeless architecture with modern comfort. Located directly across from the Delta Center, Asher Adams is perfectly situated for both business and leisure travelers, offering easy access to the best of downtown Salt Lake City. Guests and locals alike can enjoy inventive dining at our signature restaurant, sip creative cocktails in the welcoming lobby bar, or host unforgettable gatherings in curated private event spaces that highlight the building's rich history. At Asher Adams, hospitality is at the heart of everything we do. Whether you're planning a celebration, meeting with clients, or seeking an inspiring place to stay, we deliver experiences that truly connect people to the story of Salt Lake City.
Asher Adams offers a one-of-a-kind stay in the heart of Salt Lake City with style, comfort, and attention to detail. It's the perfect place to relax and enjoy the city. Learn more at asheradamshotel.com. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
The new Inside Sources.
We're going to carry our conversation about Robert Redford just a minute longer because people have texted us some of their favorites. So we had one texter who agreed with Greg that they really liked Jeremiah Johnson. We have somebody else who said they love Downhill Racer, which is one of their favorite Redford movies. And in fact, they saw Robert Redford skiing one day when he was about 80 and he was still looking really good. Somebody else said they like to see Sneakers, one that they remember watching with their grandparents. And I remember it's not been that long. He was in the live action Pete's Dragon movie. So that was a fun one too.
Yeah, I keep thinking of more and more. I mean, The Sting, we keep playing the soundbite to that, was a fun movie. And that was another one that he played with Paul Newman. They played together in that one, and they teamed up on a couple of movies. And just they seemed to really hit it off. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, obviously, right up there. I was trying to think if he was in The Great Gatsby, but I can't find that.
So one of the things that Carol said to us that was interesting to me is when I asked her about what he wanted to be remembered by, and she said not really as a Hollywood icon, although he is that, but somebody who kept trying other things and doing other things, right? So he is certainly a conservation activist, I think. He really was a proponent for conservation. He was a proponent for getting young people to try filmmaking in Utah. He wanted to bring Hollywood to Utah. He really loved Utah, right? So there were lots of things that he did, and an arts icon, not just in the film industry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and iconic actor. He was also a director.
Yeah, a director.
He did a lot. I appreciate our listeners chiming in and giving us some of their favorite Robert Redford movies and moments.
Yeah, and this is sad, but I wondered with news of the Sundance Film Festival leaving, if that might be a time for him, if he would decide he would leave also.
Yeah, seriously. Well, we are about 8 minutes away from a press conference in Utah County in Provo. The county attorney there, Jeff Gray, is expected to announce formal charges against Tyler Robinson in connection with the fatal shooting last week of Charlie Kirk. This has moved on a fairly fast track, Holly, because the shooting occurred, was it Wednesday?
Yeah, last Wednesday. About 12:20.
Right.
Right after our show.
Yeah, right after the show ended, right, because we were still in the studio. And then Robinson turned himself in Friday night.
Yeah, that's right.
Friday night. Then he was taken into custody. They had a flurry of information that we were getting after that, and the county attorney's office had several days to charge him. They waited until today, and I think that was appropriate. And I appreciate what they've done down there, because a lot of times you go get an extension, or we're still doing investigation, we're still doing this, we're still doing that. And I'm sure that the investigation is ongoing, but they must feel at this point in time that they've got sufficient evidence to file the case and to proceed with a conviction. I'm interested to hear if they're going to seek the death penalty in the case. I don't think there's much mystery about that, but I think that's something that people want to hear from the county attorney, is whether or not the state of Utah is going to do that. And I'm also interested to see what, if any, other charges will be filed, because the police have said they're going to add an obstruction charge, which is a second-degree felony. It carries 1 to 15 years in prison, which is still significant, and a felony discharge of a firearm causing injury, which is a first-degree felony, 5 to life. Of course, aggravated murder is what we call an aggravated felony, carries life without or the death penalty. And that the state can decide when and if they want to pursue the death penalty at a later date.
So we do have eyes on where the press conference will be held, and we can see that it's set up. There's a couple of flags flanking the podium. I can't see any people at this point, but I know that the eyes of the world are on this press conference. That there's probably media from the BBC. I keep seeing BBC stories for sure show up. What are we expecting for length of time? Is this something where he's going to make a statement and then other people will make a statement and then there'll be a bunch of questions, or is this something where it's pretty short and sweet? Like, what can we expect?
That's a good question. I don't know whether the county attorney is going to want to take questions. I assume that his statement will be fairly short and concise, announcing the charges. One thing that the difference between when an attorney talks, and I know that I sound biased here, and law enforcement or the FBI or something, or the governor, we got him, that type of thing. I don't expect something like that. I expect him to be very matter of fact. I expect him to lay out the charges. Here's what we have. What he has to be careful of is tainting his jury pool, making sure that the people of Utah County recognize that there's a presumption of innocence.
He's not going to try it in the court of public opinion.
Absolutely. Especially this prosecuting attorney. I mean, he's just so far above that. So and he may announce his prosecuting team. I know he's got great lawyers down there. And I would say this to the rest of the nation. People might say, and I've actually heard people say, what kind of quality of prosecution are they going to get in Provo?
Are they think we're backwater?
And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Utah County Attorney's Office is as good as there are in the nation, and they've got some great prosecutors there, a great leader there. So, and I think that the investigation here, although we've been seeing poor Patel get hammered for the last couple of hours this morning, and I do feel sorry for him, because I think he came to Utah in good faith and did what he could to support our cause.
But
and
that's
really,
also not typical, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. And so I think that the FBI deserves a hand, and I hope that Jeff gives them those kudos. And I don't know that he's going to give a message like Cox did about unity or.
I would suspect not. But I will say this. Look, I'm going to be defensive about my state.
Sure.
We are not backwater here.
No, I know, and but I've had some people call some national media say,
I know.
Well, what's it going to be like in Provo, Utah? I'm like,
I'm not saying
watch.
You're saying that. Yeah. I'm like, come on, the nation. Utah can lead the way. Don't you know we're number one in many different things?
And I would expect that the press conference, several hearings, even the trial may be televised. And I would say to the rest of the country, watch us, watch Utah at work. I'm not involved in the case. I did sort of disclose my involvement with trying to help hire, I should say, attorneys that can represent the accused. I'm involved in that process right now, but I'm not going to represent either side. I'm just going to help the county get competent counsel for the defendant, because he deserves that too, and he's presumed innocent. Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
But this case will move on a fairly fast track, I would assume. He's in custody, so we have speedy trial issues and that type of thing. But I would also think that once there is a counsel appointed, that they're going to say, wait a minute, we need to take a break. We need to gather the evidence. We need to see what's going on. And I assume, again, I'm done this for a few years, that they're going to try to do an evaluation of him and get into what we call mitigation, mental health evaluation, find out what's going on. We've talked so much just today about the internet and radicalization and people
and how quickly it can happen.
Right. And so, I think that's going to be a huge part of the case. I think that the county attorney's probably got their ducks in a row, but the defense attorney probably doesn't even know we don't even know who that is yet. Maybe they may have, just since we've started the show, but when we started it, we didn't know who that was. Hopefully, we've got somebody that will be there by 3:00. So, press conference day at noon. Court hearing today virtually at 3:00, where they will formally read the charges against him, set bail, and order that he be appointed indigent counsel.
Yeah. I'm going to just go back to Robert Redford because we had a bunch more come in before we toss it to Maria. Look, one person says, as a journalist, I'd be remiss if I didn't say my favorite Redford film was All the King's Men, Electric Horseman, The Stakeout, Scent of a Woman.
Electric Horseman, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
The Stakeout, Scent of a Woman, and The Sting, and then Out of Africa, and The Way We Were. And The Way We Were, I actually remember seeing that as a kid. So.
Okay, I've got to correct that person. Robert Redford was not in Scent of a Woman.
Well, there you go.
That was Al Pacino. But
Al Pacino. Well, that's very, very different.
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I don't think Robert Redford was in Scent of a Woman.
Okay, well, in any case, so we've got a few more who have weighed in. And again, we can see the setup for this press conference. Maria Chaleos will talk to you about that and carry it live. But right now, there's nobody there.
Yeah, considering it's supposed to start in 30 seconds, it doesn't look like it's going to.